TNT, bringing you the thrill of NASCAR, the prestige of golf's final two majors, and the drama of the NBA.
Daytona Beach, Florida. The water, the sun, the sand. But this sand has a speed limit. And for 73 years, they've been breaking that speed limit here. 51 years ago, Bill France Sr. put down some pavement. And twice a year since, they've been making history at this track. Tonight, 43 drivers will honor number 43 on a historic anniversary. Then those same drivers will look to make their own history. Kyle Busch won this race last year. He's looking for his fourth win of 2009. And could this be the race where the 88 turns things around? He's been good on super speedways and loves Daytona. The drivers are almost ready. We get you ready next on TNT. Hello and welcome to the TNT set, high above the start-finish line here in Daytona. Happy 4th of July to you and yours and to our troops worldwide who provide us with the freedom that we celebrate today. Mark Fine alongside Larry McReynolds and Kyle Petty. Guy, it is so hot, I might not be able to talk
You're
through
doing
this
perfect,
whole
baby.
hour. So let me just explain quickly that it is about 147 degrees up here today, isn't it? It is hot. That will have an impact on this race here, obviously, and these guys will talk about that a little bit more later. 50 years ago today, though, Fireball Roberts won the inaugural summer race at this track. Ever since then, the race has showcased the sport's all-time greats. Recent history has provided us with some unbelievably close finishes. Take a look.
It's going to be a drag race. They're side by side. Checker flag. Perfect. Coming to the checkers. Oh, whoa. I don't know. Jamie McMurray has won the Pepsi 400. Ryan Newman leading the field.
He will win the Daytona 500.
Last lap at Daytona. Now the record.
That's incredible.
The caution flag is out. The winner of the Coke Zero 400 is Kyle Busch.
There is so much that is awe-inspiring about the World Center of Racing. Guys, what is it that strikes you most about Daytona, Kyle?
It's Daytona, and that's all that needs to be said. Churchill Downs, Indianapolis Raceway, for open wheel racing. You look at Boston Gardens where the Celtics used to play. So many sports arenas. This is the holy grail. This is the mecca of stock car racing. It's not the 500. This is a Coke Zero 400, but it's still Daytona.
And I think he mentioned Indianapolis. If you're in IRL, whether you're a driver or mechanic, you want to win at Indianapolis. If you're in Formula One, you want to win at Monaco. If you're in NASCAR, whether it's the 500 or the 400, you want to win at Daytona. I mean, this is the birthplace of speed. This is where it all started 60-something years ago.
And the nationwide race last night, Clint Boyer won, and you heard him on his radio when it was done. We won at Daytona. That's what he had to say. You know, last time we raced with restrictor plates, we had a scary incident. It was at Talladega. Guys, any concern we could see something similar here today?
I don't think so. Talladega is a speed track, and that was all, you know, on the basis of running the fastest lap, being in the right place on the last lap. This is a handling racetrack tonight. This is all going to be about handling, and that's where Larry comes in because he's the crew chief.
Well, in the place that concerns me, this wreck here at Talladega with Carl Edwards coming to the checker flag, this happened on the front stretch through the tri-oval. The place that always concerns me here, especially now that we have double file restarts, is off of turn 2 onto the backstretch. It seems like when we do have the big one, that's where we have it, is on that backstretch.
I'm going to get you a cold towel for your
I'm
brow.
I'm sweating like Mark Fine at a slam dunk contest.
Very nice. Time to
That was
check
good.
in. Good time now for us to check in with the gentleman calling today's race along with the two of you, Ralph Shaheen and Wally Dallenbach. Guys.
You know, Mark, they call this place the World Center of Racing. And Wally Dallenbach, I don't care if you're racing stock cars, sports cars, or motorcycles at this place. Winning here is a huge deal.
It really is. It's pretty cool to say that you have been to Victory Lane here in Daytona Motor Speedway. Like you said, it doesn't matter what you're driving. Everybody maybe gets up for the game. You know, being brought up around open wheel racing and Indianapolis was the place, but Daytona was also the place. There's, you know, it whether it's a 24 hours at the Daytona 500 or like you said on a motorcycle, this place is special.
And you know, Mark, I think it'll all come full circle at the end of the night when they pull into Victory Lane here tonight. Whoever wins, the reaction when they climb out of the car will tell it all.
Now, our reaction up here is you guys look awful cool. Time now to let you at home sit down at the desk here with us. Ask the booth on Race Buddy. We want your questions. Log on to NASCAR.com. Get involved. See what you have to say a little bit later in the show. Here is what lies ahead on the show. This week's Pride of NASCAR. Take a look at Junie Dunleavy, an owner whose longevity and disposition make him one of the most beloved figures in NASCAR history. And joining us on the rig later in the show, points leader and winner here in 05 and 06, Tony Stewart. And on Countdown to Green, Wally spending some quality time with the number 5, working out. A morning workout you don't want to miss. We'll be back.
NASCAR on TNT Live. Brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero. Real Coke taste and 0 calories. And by Sprint. The Now Network.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. New Fuel Max tires help you have a winning fuel strategy. And welcome back to Daytona. Matt Kenseth won here to start the season and followed it up with a win a week later, but it has been a rough going ever since. Just 4 top 10s. The 24 has had a ton of success at this track. 33 races, 6 wins, 17 top 10s. You have to figure that he will be a factor here tonight. And, oh, there we go. Ooh. I think he won that dunk contest, by the way, right?
With a step ladder, though.
Yeah, with a nice little ruler there, tape measure. Nice. That was nice.
All right, we have a special treat for you now. It has nothing to do with basketball. The band Buck Cherry sings our theme song. Cover of the classic Highway Star, but this group's last album, guys, Grammy nominated. It went platinum. Now, their new album is titled Black Butterfly. The new single there is Talk to Me. We have really enjoyed Buck Cherry and the job they did on our new theme song. Now we're going to get to hear them live. Let's send it down trackside now. Here's Buck Cherry. Definitely a treat for us here on NASCAR Live. It is time now for us to head down trackside to another group. We're going to check in with our pit reporters, find out what's going on as we get closer to the start of the race. We start with Lindsay Czarniak. Lindsay?
Richard Childress Racing earned its first win of the season last night when Clint Boyer drove the 29 car to victory lane in the nationwide race. Tonight, it's his teammate on the Cup side, Kevin Harvick, who hopes to do the exact same thing. And it's been such a tough season for Kevin Harvick, but he's got history at this track. He won the Budweiser Shootout this season. He had his best finish of the season when he finished second in the Daytona 500. This would be the perfect place for Harvick to turn it around, Matt Yoakum.
Lindsay, for years, the Midsummer Classic was called the Firecracker 400. The name may have changed, but it's still a marquee event that every driver wants in their racing resume. Ryan Newman's carrying patriotic colors this weekend in more than one way. He's got Army Strong on the hood and Stars and Stripes on his helmet. The team found a broken shock mount, which explains an issue they've been chasing all weekend. Now the 2008 Daytona 500 champion looking to get back to victory lane here in Daytona with a very strong race car. Marty Snyder?
Well, Matt, speaking of firecrackers, it is hot here in Daytona, folks. 94 degrees outside right now. We'll cool down, obviously, as the night goes along, and no one knows that better than Kyle Busch. He's already raced today in the Grand Am Series. After that race, he did go to the Infield Care Center, took on some IVs, only as a precautionary measure. He'll be fine tonight. The last time Kyle Busch raced 2 races in one day at Daytona, he won the Nationwide Series race and went on to finish second in the Cup Series race. Adam Alexander.
Marty, it has been a tough season for Dale Earnhardt Jr. 19th in the standings entering tonight with only 1 top 5 finish. But he's at one of his favorite racetracks. 2 wins at Daytona and nearly 400 laps led. Perhaps tonight is the evening when NASCAR's favorite driver takes it back through the standings. Now let's go to NASCAR.com's Race Buddy reporter, Jim Noble.
Well, Adam, I'm wondering if his fellow competitors view Joey Logano any differently this week after the 19-year-old won last week's rain-shortened race in New Hampshire. You see, rookies don't fare very well at plate tracks like this, and Logano's going to need all the drafting partners he can get. He was dead last in the Daytona 500 here in February. Mark?
All right, thanks, Jim. Time now for the news story of the week. A judge issued a temporary injunction on Wednesday that lifted Jeremy Mayfield's drug suspension, saying he is free to race. District Court Judge Graham Mullen concluded the, quote, likelihood of a false positive in this case is quite substantial, end quote. The judge also addressed NASCAR's concerns of allowing someone who tested positive for an illegal drug on the track, saying NASCAR can test Mayfield constantly to determine if he is using. NASCAR has said they will test Mayfield if he attempts to qualify for a race. Mayfield said he will gladly submit to the tests. He did not make it to Daytona to compete. We bring Kyle and Larry back in on this very difficult subject. Guys, your thoughts?
Well, you know, I'm not going to address just that situation. I'm going to address the substance abuse policy across the board with NASCAR. I support very, very much them being very aggressive with their substance abuse policy. Our athletes, they do not have a baseball bat in their hand, a football or basketball. They have 3,550-pound race cars with over 800 horsepower driving off into most corners at over 200 miles an hour. Then when they come down pit road, like here at 55 miles per hour, there are crew members out there on pit road. I think NASCAR has to be as aggressive as any sport out there with their substance abuse policy.
Kyle, he mentioned the ball and stick sports. You know, they have unions for their athletes. You guys do not.
No, we're independent contractors, and that's why Jeremy's fighting so hard. If I believe I'm innocent on anything, I'm going to fight for it, and Jeremy is fighting for it. You've got to give him kudos for that. You got to give NASCAR kudos for standing up and saying, this is our policy, we're fighting it. We're going to have a better policy in the sport when this is all said and done. The loopholes will be closed. Things will go their way. I'm not a legal scholar. I'm not a doctor. I can't address any of those issues, and I'm not going to. But just as Larry said, this is not striking out. This is not missing a free throw. This is not missing an extra point. This is a life and death sport, and there's no room in this sport for any substance that impairs the way you drive.
All right, and obviously we'll keep you up to date on any new breaking issues with this story. As we head to break, take a look at some of the sights here in Daytona. You know, in 1936, they had their first stock car race here. The track was built back in 1959, and again, everything since has been history. We'll be back.
Take my girl, she gotta have her till the end. Nobody's gonna keep my girl, she stays close at every bend. Oh, she's a killing machine, she's got everything. Like
all right, that's our friends Buck Cherry again singing our theme song, Highway Star. Now from Highway Star to Speedway history. Yes, we say goodbye to a legendary rock song and introduce you to a legend. When our Pride of NASCAR series started, some of the motivation was the knowledge that the opening of the Hall of Fame was on the horizon. We will talk more about that. This week, though, it's Junie Donlavey, an owner whose longevity is right up there with the Pettys and the Wood brothers. Wally Dallenbach once sat in a Donlavey Ford, and this week he sat down for a chat with a true gentleman of the sport.
Well, Junie, you have given so many crew members and drivers, such as yours truly, their start in NASCAR racing. I was going to go through the list of drivers that you've had in your cars over the years, but I think it'd be a lot shorter to say the guys that haven't driven for you.
That was the main reason I stayed in it, to help the young drivers coming up. I mean, I knew, you know, Petty and Pearson and all those guys, and we didn't have what it took to be competitive with them. So I tried to make something out of going to the races, and that was helping the young drivers come along.
What about that did you find probably the most special?
To see them get a shot at running and knowing that once they got a good shot at it, then they were there to take over the big cars, the ones that really had the money. But we ran on such a little amount that, and I knew how to handle it. I knew what we had, and I knew how far we could go.
Probably your best seasons point-wise, I believe, was 80 and 81 with Jody Ridley. You guys won the Mason-Dixie race.
Jody Ridley comes out of turn number 4, faces Harold Kinder's checkered flag. Ridley's crew has gone crazy on pit road. Car owner Junie Donlevy has always had top equipment, but in 30 years of building and racing cars out of his Richmond, Virginia shops, Junie Donlevy has never been to Victory Lane.
Even on that race, I was sorry that we had won it because we were running a good third. And something happened right near the end that put us up there. But we were tickled to death with third. And I went and apologized to the two that were running in front of us that they had bad luck.
That's why everybody loves you so much. You win the race and you go apologize to the guys you beat.
On account of them having a problem.
This is a car that wound up on its head, didn't it?
Leading the race at Daytona, last lap, second corner. That's when they lost it. Somebody touched them on the rear, and it spun and went up in the air. We've got some photographer took a picture of it up in the air before it came down on this roof. I was just glad this freighter didn't get hurt.
Is that the one race that maybe haunts you out of them all, being that close?
No, I try not to dwell on any of that. From the time I got into modifieds and late models and everything else and went on, and I understood the position I was in, and I tried to make sure that I didn't overstep it. Now, I don't know how I did it with what I had.
How many guys did you have? Because I always know that you had a lot of people that were volunteers and a lot of people that were happy to volunteer. In fact, I think your team probably had to turn volunteers away because so many people wanted to come and help you.
We'd have a load going down there. The 3 guys in the hauler that took the car down there and all. And then when we got down there, if someone wanted to be a part of it, we invited them in, signed them up, and let them enjoy it.
Now, obviously, your roots are here in Richmond, and you have so many people over the years that have volunteered that would do anything just to be able to come to the racetrack and work on Junie Donlevy's race team. But you did have a sponsor at one time that pretty much gave you an ultimatum and said, you know what, if you move to Charlotte, we'll stick with you, but if not, we're going away.
Tell you the truth, I never gave it a thought of moving. So I had more fun here because we had so many people, and we had a lot of people come through the shop that went to Charlotte to work for the big team, and that made you feel good.
I think there's a lot of people that definitely owe you a lot of thanks for helping them and getting them started, and you not asking for anything in return. So I certainly thank you. I've had a great time.
Well, I certainly owe all of y'all a thank you too, because you really made life very, very nice.
And Wally Dallenbach is going to join us now from the booth. Wally, I know you enjoyed doing that story, but I also know that you think that this is a gentleman who deserves some public recognition.
Yeah, I really do. Junie Donlevy has done so much for a lot of people in this garage area, and I think Larry Mack and Kyle Petty would probably agree. You know, the Junie Donlevy Rookie of the Year award has a very nice ring to it.
Yeah, I'll give you that. That does, man.
Thanks very much. And Wally, that's something certainly that for folks who don't know a lot about Junie, they have learned about him today. Great job by you guys on that piece. From one legend now to another. Take a look at this.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
1984, the command being given by the president on Air Force One. Richard Pettia's NASCAR, 7 championships, 200 wins. Today to the 25th anniversary of that 200th win, and we're honored to be joined on set by the king, Richard Petty. Now, I've gotten to introduce you before. It's usually much longer than that, but you know what? At some point, it becomes redundant, I think, doesn't it? You've been through a number of celebrations like this. What's today been like?
It's just been confusing as much as anything else. You're trying to do the things that the people are wanting you to do, And, and then you just keep repeating yourself. I told him I needed a CD where you just stick it in. This is a standard answer and the way it goes. But it's been really exciting. I guess you don't figure like it was 25 years ago, but a lot of times people will say something and you remember a little bit more of really what happened 25 years ago.
Richard, there's some racetracks when you think of them, you automatically think of a driver. And when I think of Daytona, I think of the Petties. Your dad, Lee, won the first Daytona 559. You won here 10 times, including 7 500s. You got the 200th win here. And, oh, by the way, happy birthday. You always celebrate your birthday here.
You got it. But, you look at Daytona. Pete Hamilton won for us here in 1970. But you look at Daytona, this is where Richard Petty started. In 1959, they came here. I was a 21-year-old kid.
They even have a flaw. They're interrupting the king.
Yes.
I don't know if somebody's going to get punished.
Anyhow, I was just starting out. Track was just starting out. I was fortunate enough to do good here. My dad won the first race, and then Daytona grew. I grew. NASCAR grew. So we really grew up together. So like you said, if you see Daytona, you see a bunch of Petty wins. And, we were very, very fortunate here, that's for sure.
Okay, I only got one thing. That sounds like those Hemis did in '64, okay? That's exactly the way a Hemi sounded here at Daytona. I just got one simple question. Does Mama know that you're in a uniform?
I slipped out. She said, how many laps are you going to make? That's what she was worried about.
That's all I wanted to know.
She said, as long as I don't make but one lap, I'll be able to come home tonight.
Okay, it's safe then.
Pause. Deep breath there.
Y'all got a lot of pull here,
Yeah, we got no pull. We got no pull, man.
Hey, look, there is a big story we want to keep you up here for. NASCAR released the names of the 25 nominees for the inaugural class of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Of course, your name on there. Our Marty Snyder got an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the future home for NASCAR history.
Welcome to downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. Behind me, the brand new NASCAR Hall of Fame. On the outside, as you can see, a lot of work going on, but on the inside, it's starting to take shape. Set to open in May of 2010 for your first ever behind-the-scenes look. Let's head inside. Winston Kelley, a familiar voice to many of you, MRN Radio for many years, and now the director of the Hall of Fame. Winston, what are we about to see today?
Well, we're going to start out with our theater area, and then as guests go through the Great Hall, we'll show them Glory Road, up to the Hall of Honor where inductees will be enshrined. Our race week experience taking guests all the way through the race experience, and then the history of NASCAR, Heritage Speedway.
So this is to simulate basically a racetrack, Winston, and as we'll kind of go through the years and the banking goes up and it'll come to current time, there'll be cars actually on here, or how will that work?
Yeah, we'll have 18 different cars. We can theme them different ways. The first theme will be from the early years of NASCAR, something that was raced back in 1948, to cars that we're racing today.
And what room is this?
This is the Hall of Honor. We call it the heartbeat of the Hall of Fame. This is where inductees will be enshrined, 5 each years of the greatest of the great in NASCAR history. Inspection area, qualifying area, a race simulator, a victory lane.
When you drive by the Hall of Fame, everybody says, what's the silver thing on the outside, the decorative piece? What is that, Winston?
We call it a ribbon. It's silver to indicate the sheet metal on a race car and slightly bending and banking to show the banking on a racetrack.
We certainly appreciate the tour. Thanks, man.
Glad to be here. 10.5 months. Look forward to you being here.
Sounds like a date.
Thanks, Marty. Obviously, this was going to be a foregone conclusion, but still, what was your reaction when you found out your name was on that list?
Well, you got to figure I've been here a long time. I think they just started with who's been here the longest and started from there. Bill France and then Richard Petty, you know what I mean? One of those kind of things. But yeah, it's a great honor to be even mentioned in the name with a lot of the guys that's names are on there. And just to be with that crowd just makes you feel real honored.
And by the way, if you want the entire list of 25, you can head to NASCAR.com for that. For Larry and Kyle, I want to ask you guys, we're going to leave him out of it because I think he's going to get in. If there's one other person that you think can't be left off, I'm not saying you're number one person, one other person that can't be left off that top 5, that first 5, who would it be, Larry?
There is no question. We would not even be here. We would not be on this rig tonight if it was not for the vision of Bill France Sr. There's no question he's got to be right up at the top of the list.
All right, well, he took that one away. You got to give us another one.
And look, I'm going to have to go with Larry, too. I don't know because there's so many. There's Raymond Parks, who had the first championship car. There's Red Byron, who won the first championship. There's so many guys. There's Dale Inman, who, as a crew chief, has 8 Cup champions. No other crew chief has that many championships in the sport. So when you start looking at numbers, it's going to be hard to fill out those top 4 or 5. I don't care what anybody says.
It's going to be fun, though, and it will be fun to do it each and every year. Now, as we head to break, we want to thank the King, and he's got the classic fire suit on. It kind of reminded us of something, and wow, well, now
Who was that?
Gotta be me
What
too.
is that?
One of those days,
Whoa.
I'm just going to take it today, aren't I? Hey, thank you
I'm
so
glad
much.
I shaved, okay?
Hey, I know it is a very busy day for you. Congratulations on the anniversary, and thanks very much for joining.
Thank you guys for having me. I hope we all have a good night, okay?
We will, man.
Coming up later, Tony Stewart joins us on set. Smoked 13 top 10s in 17 races this season. We'll be here on live. Of course, Coke Zero 400 from Daytona right around the corner. Welcome back to the World Center of Racing, Daytona Beach, Florida. Bill France Sr., one of the sport's founding fathers, built this track, but the driver of the 43 car owned it. Richard Petty again being honored today for his 200th win. On a day, of course, when we celebrate our country's independence. The sun is going down, but our day is just getting started on NASCAR Live on TNT. Larry Mack down working on the torque. We're going to send it down to him in just a moment. First, though, Kyle, we're going to get your keys to the race with RaceView from NASCAR.com. And as we take a look at RaceView, it's Matt Kenseth. He won the 500 here in February. Tell us what you're watching for today.
Can't think of anybody I'd rather ride with than Matt Kenseth. Here we are going into turn 1. You see the racetrack's kind of rough. Matt jumps up in the middle of the racetrack. As he comes off turn 2, you let the car drift out. This is where a lot of stuff happens in the middle of the backstretch. People jockeying for position. Turns 3, it seems to be better on the bottom of the racetrack. But tonight, you'll see people move all over the racetrack because tonight is not a speed race. Tonight is all about handling. It's all about getting your car, filling your car, making sure you're good in the draft, but making sure you've got great mechanical grip moving forward up off these corners. You don't want to be slipping and sliding out there at 180 or 90 miles an hour tonight.
Speaking of mechanics, we now send it to our man and his machine, Larry Mack at the torque. Larry, what do you have for us today?
Well, Mark, this would be my keys to the race. The first one would be stay cool, which obviously you can tell I'm not doing a very good job at right now. But the first one is be patient, because you know what? This is a very long race. You cannot win this race in the first 300 miles, but you make one wrong move, you can certainly lose it and maybe be caught up in the big one. The other one is be careful coming to pit road under green. You're going to be out there racing in big packs at almost 200 miles per hour. And then when you come to pit road under green and you want to come together as a pack, the way the draft works is you obviously got to get down to 55 miles per hour, and that can be quite a challenge. And the other thing, it's off the crew chief's shoulders. You can have the fastest car, the best handling car, the greatest pit stops, but it's all up to that driver when he takes that white flag to put himself in the right position, in the right spot to come back around and maybe win this 400-mile race. Now, this is my Subway fresh take on the trends or the averages of this 400-mile race. And the first one is the first caution. Normally comes on the average of lap 24, but 5 times in the last 8 races here in the summer, it has come before lap 10. The longest green flag run, average 62 laps. A fuel run here is about 42 to 44 laps. We always see 1 to 2 green flag pit stops in this race. The last caution flag, average about lap 135 with about 25 to go. 5 times in the last 8 races in the last 10 laps. And here's the big one, boys. Green, white, checkers, 1 time. You remember it last year in 2008 when Kyle Busch beat Carl Edwards back to the line when the caution came out. And oh, by the way, Mark, we did have a green, white, checkered last night in the Nationwide Series race.
That's Larry Clint Boyer getting the victory last night. And we're going to take a break, give folks some time to digest all those numbers. When we come back, the number 14 on set, Tony Stewart. Keep it here. His nickname's Smoke, though he's an owner now. Maybe it should be Mr. Smoke. Tony Stewart won 2 NASCAR Sprint Cup championships, and with a reputation as a driver who will drive anything, anytime, anywhere, he's won a total of 11 championships since '78 when he first got behind the wheel of a go-kart. 13 top 10, sitting first in points, driver of the number 14 Stewart Haas Chevrolet. It's Tony Stewart, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, first question, but we're going to get to Coke Zero. I know that it's a big Coke Zero day today here, and we appreciate you bringing up the drinks for us. Is it different for you today as an owner? Are you thinking about that here in Daytona at this race for the first time as an owner?
Nope, not at all. I mean, it's during the weekends I'm a driver. I mean, it's not till Monday morning that I become a car owner again. in, and that's what having Bobby Hutchins and Darian Grubb and Tony Gibson's all about is making sure that all the business side of it's taken care of to where all I have to worry about is being a driver on the weekends.
Tony, the win in the All-Star race and then the win at Pocono, you could tell obviously it was huge for you personally. And you've experienced prior to that Victory Lane 33 times. Bobby Hutchins, Darian Grubb has been there. But I could tell with your interviews what meant the most to you was taking Gene Haas and a lot of those crew members to Victory Lane for the first time.
Exactly. That was something that was really gratifying, and you didn't really realize it till we got to Victory Lane at Charlotte and Pocono and realized that there were guys on that team that had been with Haas Motorsports for its inception and had not ever been to Victory Lane. So to get them their first Cup victory and get them their first points victory and see those guys how excited they were in Victory Lane. It's not that it didn't mean as much to me, but there was just something about it that meant more because of being able to take those guys for the first time. Everybody, when I was at Gibbs and Home Depot, we had all done it together. Yeah. So, to be with a different group of people and some of those guys just hadn't had the opportunity to be to Victory Lane like we had, it was a cool feeling to be able to take them there for the first time.
Hey, we've talked about this race and talked about the Coke Zero 400, the July race compared to the February race. Explain to the fans how much different this race is and how you approach this race compared to the 500.
Look at Larry's forehead. That'll explain most of it right there. I mean, it is absolutely hot here. I mean, and we can sit there and we can wipe our foreheads, and as soon as we get the rag off, then it's sweaty again. I mean, it is blistering hot down here, and handling is a premium here versus February. And we even talk about it in February of Talladega and Daytona. Daytona is definitely the handling track. The asphalt's worn out, but that's what makes this place fun also. But today, and with the sun being out all day and it being clear here, it's that track is heat soaked all day long, and it's going to take a while before the track starts getting some grip in it again.
Well, let's talk about the heat, because that was one of the questions we got for you on Race Buddy before the show even started. I see Kyle sitting on a cold towel. That's how he's dealing with the heat. Can you tell us some of the ways that you deal with the heat?
Yeah, I laid in bed all day, and the air conditioning had it down to like 68. So I just stayed inside. I mean, the best way to beat the heat is be out of the heat. So, the people you feel bad for, all these fans that have been outside all day running around in the heat, it's a long day for them and the crew guys that get here that don't have the luxury of getting out of the heat like we do. So the only way to really beat the heat is stay hydrated and stay in the air conditioning.
Okay, it's become pretty obvious to me, and not to my surprise, that Tony Stewart's going to visit Victory Lane a lot more. You disappoint me. Why are we not climbing the fence anymore?
I'm too fat to be climbing fences. It was fun to do that, but it's a lot tougher than it looks. Let me tell you. The first time I did it here when we won the July 4th race, I got to the top and I thought, man, what was I doing? But it was such a cool view from up there. We did it again. I think the next week we won again at Loudon. And
you got over here in the middle of the fans and couldn't get out.
Yeah, I couldn't get out the last time, which it didn't bother me. It bothered the NASCAR people more than it bothered me. I was like, man, I'm with a bunch of people that are just as excited as I am. So that part was cool, but it's a lot harder than it looks. I can promise you that.
Okay, we're going to give you a chance to plug the Dream, your prelude to the Dream. You got rained out, so when are we going back out to Eldora and what's going on there?
Going back Wednesday, September 9th. It's the week that we go to Richmond for the last race before the chase starts, and excited. Everybody that was coming in June is coming back in September, so we're really excited about that. We're even trying to get AJ Allmendinger a ride. He wants to come, so we're trying to get an extra car for him.
I couldn't come in June. Can I come back and announce in September? I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I got kicked off the deal in June because I'd already planned something.
You've never been kicked off the deal.
Please let me come back. I'm begging for an invitation. Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Hey, it's the 4th anniversary. All these anniversaries. 4th anniversary for Coke Zero. Yeah. Obviously, the sponsor of the race. Tell us about what they've got going on at the track here this week.
Well, the brand managers are back out, obviously, with the new spots. They're trying to still sway us to get away from Coke Zero and that they're stealing the brand. So we're pretty excited about the commercial spots that we got to do, and man, those guys are a lot of fun. I mean, the more that we interact with them, and the more that we work with them, the more fun we have. I mean, we're getting to actually know them really well. So we're having a lot of fun with those guys, and I don't know what the final cut ended up being, so I'm kind of anxious to see it too after tonight, but it's I got a feeling it's going to be pretty good.
Everybody will get to see it, of course, on our wide open coverage. Hey, he is sitting first in points. He'll also be on the pole because of the fact that we had rain.
Yeah, I'm all for rain. Rain on Fridays or Thursdays, depending on what day we qualify, I'm all about it.
Thanks for joining us. Good luck.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back. NASCAR Live on TNT from Daytona.
NASCAR on TNT Live. Brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero. Real Coke taste and 0 calories. And by Sprint. The Now Network.
Welcome back to Daytona. Juan Pablo Montoya, 12 points, 4 top 10s in his last 6 races, but he's never had a top 10 here at Daytona. Pit reporter Lindsay Czarniak spends time each week away from the track with some of the sport's biggest personalities. This week she headed not to Charlotte, but to Miami to see what Juan Pablo Montoya does in his spare time. Somewhere between the River of Grass and the old Mosquito Coast. Here's Lindsay.
Hey there, I am here in Miami where Juan Pablo Montoya is showing us his lifestyle in South Florida. And one of the things that we are about to see is the warehouse where he keeps all of his toys. Come on in.
Brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
This is what we do. We always bring friends here and do play this, play that, play everything, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm about to climb Juan Pablo Montoya's wall. Here's my thing. I'm scared of heights.
And then look down. She's shaking. Oh my gosh, she's shaking. I'm loving it.
I think I'm good here. I feel like I've conquered something. Slightly. Tell me about these cars. This is amazing.
I raced this in '94, and I actually won with this car in Brazil. From a 1 steering wheel. That's a NASCAR steering wheel.
So you have had to go from that
to this.
to this.
You know, when you win Indy, you get a pace car. Everybody gets a Corvette, or you know,
something really cool.
I get an Oldsmobile Aurora. I think everybody wants that. I think for one side we want to be in it because I think we deserve, we got the speed to be in it, and I think to prove a lot of people wrong.
Not a bad view from there, was it? Hey, Larry, I know you have a story about some time away from the track with Juan Pablo as well.
Well, yeah, he loves to play golf, and trust me, when he hits a golf ball, you have to check to see if it's still round. He wallops a golf ball. Well, his wife, Connie, gave him one of those practice nets, like you would put in your backyard to practice driving. Well, Juan said, you know what's hot in Miami? I'm going to put it in my basement.
Right.
He hit the golf ball so hard that it went through the practice net, and it is still today lodged in the drywall in his basement. He said, I've tried for 6 months to get it out. It's in there so deep, you can't even think about getting it out.
Nothing slow, nothing easy when it comes to all race car drivers like that, right? Hey, now from that to this, Kyle riding from race to race on his motorcycle, and you've got your buddy Rutledge with you as well. This is the sidekick, the wacky sidekick in the sidecar. It has been a lot of fun. Now this week I know you spent some time with some special children, and also Surf's up, and so are Kyle and Rut as they take flight in a different kind of vehicle. Check it out.
I did it! I did it! I'm on a blimp. I'm on a blimp. This is awesome.
The Ponytail Express. See it in its entirety at NASCAR.com.
How do you react to that?
There's no way.
There's no way to
That's
react.
one of those deals where the picture tells the story.
That's exactly. We did. We went to Halifax Hospital to the Pediatric wards. Betty Jane France started the Pediatric ward. It's a play on pediatrics, obviously, to see some kids. Then we went surfing. I broke my toe. I went back to the hospital. I had them check my toe. And then we went up in a blimp. So we had a big time. It was a lot of fun. Thank Goodyear for letting us do that, too.
Well, it has been a lot of fun watching you guys. One more episode next week in Chicago, and we will be looking forward to it. Hey, thanks to both of you braving it up here in the heat. It's It's a hot one here today. It's certainly going to have an impact on the race.
Time for a shirt change before I head to the booth. I'm going to tell you that right
cool
now.
Down, though. But you know the amazing thing, when the checkered flag waves tonight, we are officially halfway through the 2009 season. I know I'm a sick man, but it's only 141 days until the race at Homestead Miami Speedway in November when we'll crown this 2009 champion.
You are a sick man.
And a sweaty man as well. Here's what lies ahead on Countdown to Green. Wally spending some quality time with Mark Martin. And then it's our wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 here on TNT. Thanks to Tony Stewart. He sits first in points, and again, he'll be on the pole tonight as grid was set by the rule book after qualifying was rained out. For Kyle and Larry and our entire crew, thanks for watching. Countdown to Green is coming up next at Daytona Motor Speedway. Ready with tonight's opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Patrick Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Father Ed Waters of St. Timothy Parish in Lady Lake, Florida offers tonight's invocation.
Dear Father in heaven, you have chosen us to be your followers, and you are the author of our faith. We humbly ask you to bless this day for Americans here and abroad, for Americans who have earned our freedom by no small sacrifice, for Americans who have in the past been called to serve our nation and protect our homeland, and for those this day who protect us by their call to serve us. Sing a song of praise and thanks to them, whose names may be unknown and whose graves go unadorned, yet whose sacrifice and service allow us to stand here free, to live where we want, to love whom we will, worshiping the God of our understanding, always and everywhere, alive in Christ. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome the 82nd Airborne All-American Chorus.
That'll do it for Countdown to Green. The Coke Zero 400 is next. Wide open coverage from Daytona on TNT.
Gentlemen!
Start your engines.
Start your engines!
Start your engines.
Start your engines!
That is a tough act to follow. A skill, I guess, like anything else, and seems like just like everything else at this track, even the commands are the best in Daytona. TNT's own Kyle Petty slated to give the command tonight. We'll get to that shortly, but first we're going to check trackside. We start with Matt Yoakum. Matt?
Mark, for 2003 winner Greg Biffle, it's been an interesting weekend loaded with a number of challenges. First, his car very fast in practice, and then there was a crash forcing him to a backup, but then the rain hit. Without a lap on the racetrack, that meant NASCAR rules sent him to the back for tonight's race. Now, as crew chief Greg Irwin cautiously optimistic, they put that practice setup under this brand new race car. The concerns now, the lingering tire issues, which we've been documenting all weekend here in Daytona, and just new car blues. Let's go to Lindsay Zarniak.
Matt, Jeff Gordon is banging, not even knocking on his second Cup win of the season. In the last 4 races, he has finished inside the top 10, so now he comes to a track where he has won 3 times in July. They changed a heck of a lot in his race car over the weekend, but finally got it to a place where Jeff feels very, very comfortable. He's sure to be a challenge here tonight, Adam Alexander.
No doubt about it, Lindsay. You talk about Jeff Burton, he's a guy that wants to forget the month of June. 3 consecutive finishes outside the top 25, dropped him from 10th to 16th in the standings. He's 108 points out of 12 with a handful of races to go until the chase. He hopes he can get to victory lane tonight and turn the momentum. Marty?
Adam, you may remember the last restrictor plate race at Talladega. Tony Stewart started 29th and hung out in the back all day. I talked to him moments ago. He said tonight, that is not the plan. Why? Because he starts first, and he said the car plenty good enough to stay out front, and the best place to avoid an accident at a restrictor plate racetrack if you're in the front. And that's where Tony Stewart plans to keep the 14 car tonight. Let's hear from our crew chief, Larry Mack.
Well, Marty, we've not been talking a lot about tires in 2009. When we were here in February, we did have some problems with the right side tires. Goodyear came here with a new right side tire, thinking they had the problem solved, but in those 2 practice sessions, we did have some wear issues on the inside of the right front and the right rear. The hopes are, with the rubber laid down, the cooler temperatures, that we won't have a problem, but I'll guarantee you, the caution comes, 4 Goodyear tires every pit stop.
All right, thanks very much, Larry. You know, tonight the drivers paid tribute to a legend, honoring Richard Petty on the 25th anniversary of his 200th win. Now it's their turn to take center stage, and we will see a smile like no other, the smile of a driver in victory lane at Daytona. Time to go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome proud Coca-Cola Racing family member, Kyle Petty.
All right, I can't hear anything. On behalf of the Coca-Cola Racing family, I invite all you fans to pop the top on a Coke Zero 400, sit back and watch live on TNT the Coke Zero 400. Are you ready? Gentlemen, start your engines! Yeah.
Arno.
What a great night for the Petty family. Kyle now going to make his way up to the booth, see if he still has his voice to call tonight's race here on TNT. We're going to take a quick break as TNT revs up its engine. Next, it's the Coke Zero 400 with wide open coverage. Back after this. The Coke Zero 400 on TNT is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero. Real Coke taste and 0 calories.
Hi, I'm Matt Anderson.
And I'm Phil Rose from the Coke brand. Welcome to the Coke Zero 400, powered by Coca-Cola.
We're thrilled that Coke Zero is now sponsoring our race.
They took our great Coke taste. It's not surprising that they took our race as well.
We hope you enjoy every second of the action with TNT's wide open coverage, which gives you more racing and less commercials.
Or with TNT's Race Buddy on NASCAR.com, where you can choose from 4 different live cameras.
Race Buddy lets you control the way you watch the race, from the track, the pits, or even inside the car.
You know, like a buddy. You can't see NASCAR action like this anywhere else.
In fact, Phil and I have also planned something extra special for the drivers, so they too can see in a whole new way.
It's something you'll have to see to believe.
Yes, just wait and see.
Foreshadowing. Nice.
What's foreshadowing?
It's where you shadow 4-ish.
Oh.
Da, 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 da.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. We are almost ready to go green. It's been a weekend filled with red, white, and blue, and before the night is over, someone will take home a flag of checkered black and white. The Coke Zero 400 is next, and tonight it's with TNT's wide open coverage.
This is Daytona.
As we flip the switch to our wide open coverage, it's time to light the fuse on a 4th of July holiday tradition as only NASCAR can. The Coke Zero 400 under the lights from the famed Daytona International Speedway, live on TNT. Hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Sheheen, along with Wally Dallenbach, and an absolutely out of breath, but he made it to the booth, Kyle Petty. Happy 4th of July to you, and a big thank you to all of our men and women around the world fighting to keep our country free so we can enjoy a great night of racing here in Daytona. As you can see, we've kicked off our wide open coverage. A lot of information for you down on the screen to soak in, and a lot more action for you out on the track as well. All right, Wally, let's begin with you. This place looks very simple, a big, wide open freeway, almost like place, but it's much more difficult than that, isn't it?
Well, first of all, I want to say you nailed it, Kyle.
Thank you, baby.
Command. That was
It
good.
was good.
That was strong. But yeah, this place is all about handling. Very hot, very slippery racetrack. It's a lot different than Talladega. It's a lot different than this race is in February. You're going to see a lot of race car driving tonight. The cars are going to be sliding around. It's going to be very exciting to watch, but it's difficult as a driver. This is one of those places where you go in, you kind of hold your breath, but you've got to hang on the racetrack. It's almost you're reacting on what the car does. You're saving it a lot.
Yeah, and Wally nailed it right there where he said, you're going to see a lot of race car driving tonight. And you are. That's what this place is all about. We talked to Tony Stewart in the pre-race. Tony Stewart said, it's not about being fast. It's about handling is the foremost thought in everybody's mind out there. Tires are the foremost thought. Fuel, we hope we don't hear anything about fuel today, so I don't want to hear it from Larry down there anytime. But handling and keeping that car under you all night is going to be what it's all about.
Well, that's the absolute fun of racing at this place. So let's kick off our night here. And you know, TNT would like to thank the following sponsors for supporting TNT's wide open coverage. Goodyear, Coors Light, Sprint, the Weinstein Company and their new film Inglourious Bastards, Burger King, the U.S. Army, Toyota, Subway Restaurants, and Coke Zero. Here's tonight's starting grid, brought to you by Coke Zero. Jeff Gordon and points leader Tony Stewart will start on the front row. Of course, qualifying rained out earlier this week, so we're going according to the NASCAR rule book, which puts Jimmy Johnson and Kurt Busch on row number 2. There you see Denny Hamlin and Carl Edwards. Row 3, and in row 4, we get Kyle Busch, last year's winner, along with the former 500 winner, Ryan Newman. Matt Kenseth and Greg Biffle. Biffle a 400 winner here, Matt Kenseth a 500 winner. As you take a look at the rest of the starting field, Wally, let's see if we can touch base with Kurt Busch.
Okay. Hey, Kurt, this is Wally up in the booth. You got a copy?
10-4, Wally, go ahead.
All right, man, I'll tell you what. Last 6 races, you have scored more points at Daytona than any other driver. You finished second here twice. You obviously like this because you sure run well here. Can this be the night?
I hope so, Wally. I think scoring the most points means I just missed the most wrecks. But, you know, to have a good car, it starts back at the race shop. I want to thank all my guys watching tonight, all of our viewers that root for the Miller Lite Dodge. This is as good a car as any, and we hope to bring it home tonight.
Be safe and good luck, Kurt. Be fun to watch.
10-4, thanks, guys.
Field making their way down the backstretch, warming things up, and let's check in with our crew chief. Here's Larry McReynolds.
Well, Ralph, we're getting ready for 400 miles at one of the fastest racetracks that we go to. You heard Wally and Kyle talking about, you know, this is a fast racetrack, but the fact I can guarantee you the driver that goes to victory lane tonight, he's not going to talk about how fast his car was. He's going to talk about how great his car handled. Now, there was a crew chief in February. The car started dead last back in the 43rd position, and he never lost the concept of making that car drive good, and Matt Yoakum is with the 2009 Daytona 500 Championship crew chief.
5 months ago, Larry Mack, Drew Blickensderfer went to victory lane. 5 months later, handling is still important. How close setup-wise are you to the car that went to victory lane here?
We're real close. We did some things to look for some downforce in our car, so we basically had the same kind of setup and look to try and get the car stuck a little more to the racetrack since it's going to be a lot warmer than it was in February.
This team very dominant here at Daytona. The last 2 races, finishes of 3rd and 1st. Ralph?
All right, Matt, you know, it is This is the Coke Zero 400 powered by Coca-Cola, and it's a good thing they ended up naming it the Coke Zero 400 powered by Coca-Cola rather than what these two guys from Coke were trying to do. Take a look.
So last year, we were a little miffed that you guys were promoting Coke Zero instead of Coke.
Yeah, see, first Coke Zero stole our great Coke taste, then it stole our drivers.
But hey, we're past that, and we're moving forward.
We're glad you're promoting the incredible Coke taste of Coke Zero.
In fact, we'd like to help.
What is the one part of a car that no one has bothered to use for sponsorship yet?
Look at that. That screams Coke Zero.
You're out of your mind. But you haven't even tried it yet.
Now, would that be safe? I don't know if it's 100% rating of safety, but you're doing 200 miles an hour, so you made some choices to begin with.
Coke Zero tastes like Coke, and now you claim you're both okay with it.
Oh, yeah. Very okay.
It's really dark in there.
Well, are you a NASCAR driver or a NASCAR driver?
You can't see.
Oh, I'd like to be able to see.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, where's the track? Where am I going?
Yeah. What the heck?
Da, 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 da. I like that one. I love that. Congratulations, Adam M. of Florida. You're the first grand prize winner in the Coke Zero Real Taste of NASCAR sweepstakes. You'll be taking a few heart-pounding 160-mile-per-hour laps with a member of the Coca-Cola racing family at Atlanta Motor Speedway this fall. Verification instructions and details on how to claim your prize have been sent to your email from My Coke Rewards. Stay tuned. 3 more winners will be announced tonight. This race is 160 laps. That's how we get to our 400 miles. Pit road speed 55, 40 to 42 laps for your pit.
Yeah, that pit road speed 55, that's a killer. I mean, when you're coming off a racetrack, run 185, 190 miles per hour, that's really difficult. You probably see some guys getting out speeding. Really hard to go 55 here.
Yeah, and think about it. You're running 180 or 90 in a draft. You pull down, and you got to be at 55. And 55 feels like you're going absolutely. 55 feels like the drive-through window. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm telling you, that's what it feels like coming off the interstate and hitting the drive-through window.
And another thing is, if we see some, green flag pit stops, you're going to see guys smoking tires getting it. You want to hurry up and get to that first line entering the pits, but you got to be careful because you'll see some guys smoking tires come in there.
You will notice as our names scroll across the bottom of the screen of our starting lineup, some of the drivers will have little red Coca-Cola bottles by their names. There you see Greg Biffle, for example. Those are the Coca-Cola Racing family of drivers. Just some of that great information you're going to get tonight with our wide open coverage. Getting set to go green. If you're a racing fan, this is the only way to celebrate the 4th of July. NASCAR live on TNT. We are underway. Green flag racing from Daytona.
I guess the bump drafting has started going into turn 1 with the 2 right tucked up under the 24 there.
Well, this is the best of handling the cars are going to handle all night long. That's my favorite camera shot right there. Car already a little bit sideways.
That's amazing for the first, I guess, probably 15, 20, 30 rows, or excuse me, for the first 10 or 12 rows, these guys are still side by side. Nobody tried to go change lanes. Nobody tried to go the outside. They're being pretty patient here the first couple of laps.
I'll tell you what, Kurt Busch could not get any further up underneath the rear end of Jeff Gordon's car without picking the rear end up.
Well, I think he's getting a little bit of help there from Denny Hamlin because Denny Hamlin's got that front bumper laid on the rear bumper of Kurt Busch, and that's why I believe he got loose there coming out of 4. You can see him pushing right there. He got loose
Kurt
again.
For it.
And he got pushed down there. He got pushed down there. That's a good call.
Clear high one inside.
Yeah, I'm not sure Kurt was ready, but Denny was ready to get him up there.
Well, you know what? When he had it sideways, he was really mad, but he's really happy right now. Because, when a guy does that to you, it's like, what the heck are you doing? Oh, okay, I'm in the lead. That's all right. Cool, thanks.
And you're sitting there with Jeff Gordon. That was Jeff. You're sitting there in Jeff Gordon's position. You look in the mirror, and the 2's behind you. And then when you look straight, he's right up beside you because he got pushed there that fast. And Jeff has just hung out there on the outside, and he's lost what? 25 positions right there.
The worst thing can happen at the first 4 or 5 laps of a race because everybody is so close to each other. So now he's going to duck in, and he's got a long way to go, Lindsay.
He does, and Jeff Gordon's radio communication says it all. He just says, knew that was coming. It's going to be a long night, guys. And the thing is, before he was hung out to dry, he felt like his car was very good. They changed a lot in practice. His crew chief, Steve Letarte, told me they changed the front geometry, the shocks, the springs, got it very close to the setup they had in February when he finished 4th in the Bud Shootout.
I'll tell you what, Kurt Busch has got to be telling his guys, hey, tell 11 to get off me. I mean, it's one thing getting pushed on the straightaway, but I'll tell you what, you don't want to get hit in the corners because it's just turning you sideways, Matty.
Absolutely. His spotter told me this morning, one thing that they saw from this race car in practice, it could go absolutely anywhere. The top, the middle, the bottom. He especially liked going up to the middle, and you saw that move. He did the same exact move in practice. Kurt said this is the best car he's ever had here at the beach. Marty?
Denny Hamlin back there, the one that gave him the shove to the front. And while he was talking about how these cars handle early in the run, Denny told me he expects his car to be extremely loose for about 10 laps. But that helps him at the end of the run when they feel like they're better than a lot of cars. A lot of people in the garage area said this morning that 11 car, the one to watch out for.
Speaking of the garage area, Dave Blaney has taken the 66 to the garage.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I'm listening to that report, and they're talking about the 2 car being able to go low, high, wherever he wants to go. Let me tell you something. That 2 car was going wherever that 11 car wanted him to go because he was pushing him there.
And I was curious to see if the 11 car got out front. If it get, sometimes you have a car that follows really good and pushes, but once you get it out in the lead, it dies like a dog.
Let's take a look and keep your eyes on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number 88 up at the top of the screen, just in front of Jeff Gordon. Is he getting up into the wall here?
Boy, that car sure is bouncing a lot.
Oh, man.
No, I'd say he was safe.
No runs, no drips, no errors right there. Now, I don't think he got anything there because there was nothing on the wall. But I think Jeff did something really smart though. I think when Jeff got shuffled to the outside, he bided his time, he tucked in, he let everybody go by, and then he fell back in behind that pack. Now he's moved to the inside lane here, and he's going inside, outside. He'll be able to understand his car a little bit better in traffic because of where he's at right now.
And I don't think he's in a big hurry to get back up to the front right now. I think he's just kind of, like you said, he's riding things out, but you don't want to get too big a hurry. Just let things settle down here a little bit.
But how fast do you need to get yourself to a safe spot in the pack, though?
There is no safe spot. There's no safe spot in this pack. I mean, really, it can happen anywhere. Unless you're up front in the top 2 or 3 cars, you may as well be back in the last 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah, but you do feel more comfortable racing with certain guys, don't you?
Yeah, but these guys, these are 43 of the best drivers in the world. I don't care what anybody says. So there are better places to be, but I agree with him. At Daytona, there is no safe place to be. It can happen at any time, anywhere.
All right, crew chief, what do you think, Larry?
Well, I've been watching Kurt Busch in the 2 car in a Dodge, a Penske Dodge, up there right in the top 5. But who I've really been watching is his teammate, Sam Hornish Jr. in that 77 car. Remember, Sam was one of the cars that had to go to the rear of the field because of going to a backup car. And in just 6 laps, that 77 car has went from 43rd to 24th. So that old Dodge is on the move. And that's the thing I've seen with the Dodges here in Talladega. They don't run a fast lap, but they get their cars driving good.
Yeah, and the other thing, and comparing to what Larry's saying and what Wally said, to expand on a minute ago, the Dodges are notorious for being great pushers, but not being great leaders. They can push a car to the front, and it's just the RPM band, it's the power range that the engine has. It seems to get a little bit more torque when it gets to a certain point, and they can push. So, like you say, it's interesting to see who's going to be leaders and who's going to be pushers here.
But, the rear, as they were talking about, is not exactly a bad spot to start in this year. 4 races this season have been won by drivers starting in the rear, including Matt Kenseth here at the 500 and Brad Keselowski at Talladega earlier this year.
Really tight entering.
It's Kyle Busch there, and you can see, watch his throttle, and I don't know if we'll see it this early. He's kind of up front, but you'll see these guys lay on the brake a little bit and not get off the throttle, because you can't get off the throttle in these restrictor plate cars because they don't react. They don't accelerate very good. So when you're starting to run here like this and you're running in a tight pack, you just start riding the brake just a little bit.
Adam, Jimmy Johnson is working his way up to the front. He's in the top 4 right now.
And he was a benefactor of qualifying being rained out yesterday, Ralph, because that means he got to start in the 3rd position. This is a race team that has really struggled on the plate races of late. Outside the top 30, both here at Daytona and Talladega earlier in the year. But there was a quiet confidence in the garage this morning with that 48 bunch. And I think we're seeing it on the racetrack now. JJ continues to ride in the top 5.
Kurt Busch now has Carl Edwards behind him in the 99 as Denny Hamlin continues to lead with Tony Stewart right there. Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for the past 25 years. Let's check in with our friends high above.
Hi, everybody.
The Coke Zero 400 at Daytona. It doesn't get much better than this.
Ooh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I mean, we need to turn down the AC. There. That should improve our gas mileage, too.
Good point. You know, fuel strategy is so important these days, whether you're on the road or on the racetrack.
That's why Goodyear's new Fuel Max tires are so special. On the Goodyear website, it shows how the innovative tread compound helps the typical driver save 2,600 miles worth of gas over the life of the tires.
Well, I think fuel strategy is going to play a big factor in tonight's race.
You know, earlier this week, I asked crew chief Chad Knaus about it.
Hi guys, fuel strategy has been a deciding factor here in Daytona for a lot of famous races, and I can promise you, every team is going to be trying to figure out ways to go further on less fuel.
Maybe Chad can help us race this baby.
Hey, I'm all for it. Hey, enjoy the race, and remember, new Fuel Max tires will help you get there on less gas.
Guys enjoying the race from high above the track in the Goodyear blimp as Denny Hamlin continues to lead in front of Tony Stewart. Boy, the images from outside watching it this way, and then when you cut to the onboard camera, especially through the corners, such a different look at how this race unfolds.
It really is. It's a big difference when, you know, it looks like these cars are just glued to the racetrack right here. If you look at them, like, yeah, you know, this doesn't look tough. Then when you start watching how these cars dance around from this kind of a shot, it's a whole new ball game. It really is a tough place to drive. I always loved racing here, but it's certainly not sitting around riding in one of these cars.
Yeah, and like I said in the opening, when you said it, there's going to be a lot of race car drivers here tonight. They're going to have to drive these race cars all night long. We go to Talladega, and Talladega is a speed racetrack. You see a line go forward and a line come back. These packs will get broken up because some of these guys will be able to be on top of the wheel and stay on top of the wheel all night long, make their adjustments, get their cars to work. Some guys won't, and they'll drop to the back.
And really the key is on this racetrack, I mean, is if you can keep that right foot down all the time. If your car's not handling, I don't care if it's tight or if it's loose. You always crack the throttle to let that car recover a little bit. If you can keep the gas pedal down all the way to your pit stop, you are going to be in a good position to win this race.
Well, speaking of position, you can see the guys that are moving up through the field at the bottom of our screen there. Sam Hornish Jr. has been slicing his way through the pack. He's gained a bunch of spots. Elliott Sadler's got 9, and Larry, I gotta tell you, Jeff Gordon's grabbing a handful. Oh, we got some trouble down the backstretch. 2 cars, including Mark Martin, sliding through
Spun us down the back.
the inside of the track in our first caution of the night now.
You all right, Mark? Got a lot of got a lot of front.
A lot of front damage is what he was trying to say here. Let's try to get a look. You see the 17 car up there, and I think Mark was just trying to slide up there in front of Matt, and that was just a close call, and an inch would have done it.
Yeah, and
look at
you
Montoya.
Whoa!
Almost made it.
But you look at Matt, there's 2 cars coming from 2 different angles to the same spot on the racetrack. And, you know, it's one of those deals that's give and take, and I don't think Matt thought that he was going to come up that quick either. I hate that for Mark, man.
Yeah, he was running 6th and 9th in the points coming into tonight.
See Matt up on the high side, and he's got a pretty good run there. I think Mark just closed up on him a little bit quicker than he realized. I tell you, Montoya did a really nice job there. That could have been big.
Yeah. And you know, he got down through the grass, and we'll have to see what it did to his splitter.
This is going to give you a really good idea of what it really looked like. If you're running up high, all of a sudden you've got a pretty good run, and you've got a lot of room in between Mark and the wall. and it just closes up. And you hear Matt got out of the throttle.
He did.
So he did try to cut Mark some slack, but it just wasn't enough.
And one thing that happens when you're in Mark's position, I'm going to say this, and you know this, Wally, when you're on that inside and you got that wheel cut and you start up the racetrack, sometimes the car will begin to take off, and if you let off that gas, the car takes off twice as bad.
You're right.
It just takes off twice as bad. It loses the nose and it flies the nose. And I think Matt let off, Mark probably let off a little bit. But if you notice that white line in that replay, there's not a car length above that white line. Matt was as high as he could go. Mark came up, and they just were fighting for the same place on the racetrack.
And that's one of the weird things. It's so much different here at Daytona than Talladega. Exactly what Kyle said. It's almost like you've got to keep the thing matted to keep the downforce on the front of the car. If you get off the throttle, you lose a little bit of that downforce on the front. And especially in turn 2, these cars will take off on you. 5 laps, you could just nail it, and then all of a sudden, the car take off on you.
All right, Matt, first round of pit stops. You get the first call.
Mr. Second Place, the Blue Deuce. Kurt Busch peels off to his pit box. Slides right through his pit box. Locked him up. He's caught the air hose. Now backing up. This is going to be costly for Kurt Busch. A lot of spotters try to remind their drivers when they come in off the banking to make sure they don't lock up. Let's go further up pit road.
Jimmy Johnson tight in traffic, Matt. He has brought his car to a stop. It will be 4 tires and fuel. You see it happening top left of your screen. They will also make an adjustment, Marty.
Denny Hamlin, top middle of your screen. The car was a little bit too tight for Hamlin. Half round of wedge out of the left side. He will win the race. Actually, Tony Stewart will win the race off pit road. Stewart was a little bit tight as well. An air pressure adjustment for Stewart as he leaves pit road.
Well, I tell you, I think that's going to cost Kurt Busch about 15, maybe 20 positions that slide through the pits.
That's a little tough this early, right? You know what I mean? But at least he's got time to recover from it.
You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. We're back live at Daytona, the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona, powered by Coca-Cola. First round of pit stops completed. And Kyle, you picked up on something in that Kurt Busch incident on pit road that really saved them.
Yeah, we were calling the pit stop when he came down pit road, and Matt was doing a great job of calling it. But watch this. This is something you don't practice. The 2 comes in, slides through the pit, and you see the sign guy. He catches the hose and lifts the hose up so that he doesn't run over the hose. He drops it back down in front of him. They go on and finish their pit stop. That is truly amazing to be that much on your feet. You see it again. See the sign right there? You see the guy run out with the hose. Boom! He runs through the sign. You heard it hit right there. He's got the hose up in the air. He drops it back down. Pit stop continues. That's where a team, when something happens bad, you adjust to it quickly. And you lose time, but you don't lose as much as what he would have running over it, the penalty of running over a hose, and everything else that goes along with that.
Well, you see Kurt's crew being listed at the bottom of the screen, all led by Pat Tryson. And they didn't have
the pit sign guy's name on there, so we need to get those guys back on there because he's a hero.
That's impressive. The front tire guy and the pit sign guy, that's impressive for those 2 to work together like that.
Okay, our first look at the double file restart now on a super speedway.
And Hamlin took, that's I probably figured he would take the outside. Stewart, did he come out of the pits first?
Stewart's actually the leader,
so
and he went to the inside.
So I guess I might be a little bit surprised about that. But
we're back green.
Yeah, I would be a little bit surprised about that, taking the inside, especially after the start of the race when he got beat off the line. And the 2 and the 24 went to the front. The 11 car didn't get a great restart there on the outside.
Marty, what do you think of that lane choice by Tony?
Well, actually, I talked to Tony Stewart and several other drivers about that this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, and they all said it really didn't matter where your car worked best. It was more who was behind you in line. If you felt like a car was behind you that could help push you a little bit better, that's the lane you would select. So obviously, he felt like Jimmy Johnson would give him the best push on this restart, Larry Mack.
Well, Tony Stewart told us in the pre-race show that he loves rain on Friday, or in the case of here, it was Friday when qualifying got rained out, because that put him on the pole as a points leader, and the accolade that goes with that
is pit selection. And what won him the battle off pit road, he gets that very last pit box leaving pit road. He only has to move a little distance to win the battle, and that's exactly what that 14 team did under that caution. It's a great pit selection, especially under caution.
Jeff Gordon has moved back into the top 10. And Kurt Busch came into that pit stop in third, went back out in 21st. So he's got a little bit of work to do here as he sits in the middle there. Ryan Newman is driving the U.S. Army Chevy Impala, but the Army has some impressive vehicles of their own. Let's see how they match up to NASCAR.
I command the mine-resistant ambush protected vehicle.
I drive the number 39 U.S. Army Haas Automation Chevy Impala SS, weighing in at 3,400 pounds.
Well, my vehicle weighs more than 21 tons. It's got 4 speeds and a 350 horsepower engine.
4-speed, 850 horsepower.
I can go 300 miles on a tank of gas.
80 miles, 18 gallons. But who's counting anyway?
My vehicle seats a driver, 4 passengers, a truck commander, and a gunner.
1 driver, that's all you need.
Blue Force tracker with a built-in GPS.
Digital 2-way radios with my crew chief and spotter. Check.
It ascends on a 60-degree grade without losing stability.
31-degree bank turns.
I can conquer all terrain. Sand, mud, snow, ice.
Short track, intermediate, super speedway, and road courses.
I can take her for a swim to 3 feet of water without warning.
Floating rear axle suspension.
Nice try.
A pit stop for 4 tires and fuel in under 15 seconds.
My tires automatically inflate. The weapon station can mount a 50 caliber machine gun or a 40 millimeter automatic grenade launcher.
There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Find out more at goarmy.com/racing.
Where can a marketing administrator be a watercraft engineer? Where can a doctor serve his community while also treating patients around the world? Where can a student stay in school while expanding his education beyond the classroom? In the U.S. Army Reserve, you'll find the strength to develop new skills and gain an edge to get ahead. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Visit goarmy.com/reserve.
Ryan Newman right now is running in 18th in the U.S. Army car. Wally, you got a tank. Does your tank have any of that stuff?
Some of it, yeah.
Some of it you're trying to find out how you can get a hold of now, right?
Yeah. I like the grenade launcher thing. I don't have one of those on mine, but
There's been times I wish my race car had a grenade launcher. Okay, just when I'm running in 18th like he is right now.
Matt, the 39 of Ryan Newman just slipped back to 19th.
Ralph, Newman's pitting right next to the 2 of Kurt Busch. There is an open pit stall between them, but it's not a full pit stall. It's only about 7 feet. So when Busch slid through his pit and all of that commotion was going on, Newman came in. His angle was not good into his pit box. He then had to back up to try to get around the car that was in front of him, the 96. So he lost valuable seconds here on pit road. Slight air pressure change, but Newman's car is good.
And you know, talking about pit boxes, let's go back to the first pit stop. The 14 comes in and goes out leading the race because of pit selection. And that's why qualifying is so important. And when it gets rained out, if you're 25th or 26th or 27th in points, coming into a place like that, it doesn't make any difference if you start 27th at Daytona, but your pit selection at Daytona is critical and can dictate the outcome of the race sometimes.
And it's who you're pitting around.
Yes.
It's not so much where that box is on pit lane, but it's really important who you're pitting with. Because, you know, sometimes those guys will come in and they'll block you a little bit. Yes, on purpose. I know it's hard to believe.
Hard to believe. Hard to believe that would ever happen.
You never did that, did you?
We all done it.
And until they changed the rules, I'm telling you, the crews would leave tires strategically placed in certain areas on the racetrack, on pit road, to block the guy behind you. That was part of the game then. But then NASCAR made you start rolling tires off, and they changed stuff, and it made it safer for the crews and the crew members, and it makes it safer for the drivers too. And we still run into each other on pit road. You see it every week where people have. But imagine dodging people, tires, and everything else on pit road.
Patrick Carpentier has taken Tommy Baldwin Jr.'s race car to the garage area, the 36. Let's check in with Adam Alexander.
And how about Jeff Burton in the early going, Ralph? He started in the 16th position, has worked his way to 4th, a combination of a good race car and good pit work. He made his way through the field on that first run despite a tight condition. They did make an adjustment at lap 14 when he came in, and now he has settled nicely in the top 5.
And that's a good run for these guys. And you know, the knock on the RCR teams this year has been they spent too much time focusing on their speedway stuff and not enough time focusing on their 1.5 mile and their 2 mile and their short track programs. And I think every one of those drivers has been a little bit vocal about that. So you would expect them to come here and put together a good package. They did last night with Clint Boyer in the nationwide race. Clint was ecstatic to win that race. His radio when that thing was over with, I won at Daytona, I won at Daytona. That was pretty cool. But you know, I looked for the 20 or for the 29 and the 31, the 33, the 07 for those guys to run good here tonight.
Yeah, and Adam talked about how tough a June the 31 bunch has had. They have not had very good finishes in June.
And Jeff said he was going to take a different approach to the setup of his car this year, hoping it would pay off this July. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. Let's listen in on Tony Stewart's live in-car radio communications for a moment. Seems like he's having some mechanical problems.
I got some sort of vibration out here. Okay, Tony, just try to ride it for a few more laps until we bring you in. How's the oil temperature? Not so good. I'm overheating. Water and oil temps are both pegged. I don't know what it was, but I made contact a few laps back, and the car's been pulling to the left ever since. So I have way too much oversteer. Stay calm, Tony. We need you to stay cool and just focus. Give me 5 more laps until we pit. That's easy for you to say. I'm doing all the work out here, and I'm starving. Well, that's what the King's for. The what? That's what I'm talking about. Come on, King. Jam up. Guys, we gotta modify this helmet. Hold that still, King.
Well, despite the fact that Tony might be getting hungry out there, we can show you that the King is not actually riding along with him, but this is a great view of exactly what is going on and how hard he is working. He's going to earn a Whopper before the night is over.
Yeah, and don't forget, he's got a good handling car.
Yes.
and you can tell, you can just see what he's doing. He's working on that steering wheel. That's a good handling race car. We'll hopefully tonight we'll find you a guy that's really struggling. But it's a lot of work. You see him going down into turn 3 here, and you'll see when you turn that wheel, it's not easy. You're struggling with that thing.
I got to be honest, when that Brandon content first started, I thought we were in car with Tony. Okay.
Kind of caught you off guard.
Until I looked over there and saw your lips not moving, and I knew it wasn't a Godzilla movie. Okay, so we were okay.
Right. Good line. I like that. That was well done. I'm sure that has gotten Wally thinking about French fries, though.
Yes, it has.
I kind of figured it might. Marty, we saw Mark Martin have some issues taken out way too early tonight. What are you hearing from down there?
Yeah, Mark behind the wall right now, but we're watching Tony Stewart and Kyle talking about people's lips not moving. Tony Stewart's lips are not moving. You can see how well that car is handling. The first run, a little too tight spin on the track, Ralph.
Yeah, we do. It's Casey Mears, the same spot, actually, where we saw Mark Martin.
Caution's out, Todd. We spun off at 2.
Oh,
wow. Man, he had it saved. He had it saved.
I can't believe he jumped off the brake and let that thing roll.
Yeah, man, that's where you jump on the throttle.
Yeah,
at least.
And look, it's easy to sit up here and criticize, so let me say that. I apologize. But I really thought that when he was on the brake that the thing was going to stop, and then it just rolled off.
All right, I'm going to try to circle him. No, that's easy. I have to circle him. There he is. You do the next one, Kyle. Ooh. And you know what? That was one of those deals where we were talking about earlier. I think getting off of turn 2, the thing just getting away from you. Watch, he's down on the bottom. No, actually the 12, but he's still, the 07 was going up, the 12 was coming down.
And I'm going to say something. He has it saved here. I think he's got a flat right front tire. But he let off right there. He just rolled it back. He does have a flat right front tire, but he just let that thing roll back.
But you'll see that a lot in turn 2. I mean, you know, you lose the nose.
Look at Stremme just come down.
Yeah,
there.
but Stremme did have he had a lot of racetrack there.
Casey was in 19th at the time.
Not sure Casey could have done a whole lot about that one.
No.
I got it. I don't got it.
Clear low behind 07 if you want it. 2 back to 2x2. Anything you need right now, all clear.
Wow. That was a great angle. That really showed that the 12 car just took up all the racetrack, and Casey couldn't do a whole lot about that.
Casey could do nothing there. The 12 car changed lanes. It's like, I don't know where the 12 car thought he was on the racetrack or if it bounced and it took off that way, but I mean, he come down a half lane.
And if it wasn't for the 07, it would have been the 12 car spinning down on the infield and probably hitting the wall.
Yeah.
Because the 07 straightened him out.
Well, you've said that a lot of times these things can just take off on you, too.
And that's exactly, especially in turn 2, that's the hardest corner on this racetrack.
Second caution, second time down pit road, Matt.
Matt Kenseth apologizing profusely for the incident with the 5 of Mark Martin. They had to pull out the fender on the left front. The car very good. Really doesn't want any changes to that 17. Adam?
Jimmy Johnson said the car started balanced, then it went tight. Not as bad as the first run. 4 tires fuel. They will make an adjustment. Their service being completed. Top left of your screen, Marty Snyder.
Denny Hamlin in the middle on the top of the screen says the car is too tight. They're actually going to add a piece of tape to the grill. They also make an air pressure and a wedge adjustment for Denny Hamlin. Tony Stewart said, I want more of what you gave me last time. Half pound in the right rear, also up on the track bar. And once again, hold serve here on pit road, Ralph.
Great job by that crew on the 14.
26,
Jamie McMurray.
Yep.
You're watching wide open coverage on TNT. Back to a beautiful night here in Daytona for the Coke Zero 400, powered by Coca-Cola. Pretty 4th of July. And you see Tony Stewart up at the front of the field. Second time his crew has beaten everybody else off of pit road. Fans, let's see how Sprint can help when you can't watch the race, only on the Now Network.
Now you're watching the race. Ted Franklin is not. He lost a bet with his wife earlier in the week. It's now clear to Ted that there is not a woman alive who knows more about the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. What Ted's wife doesn't know is that he just texted NASCAR to 7777 to download NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. He's wearing a spaghetti strap ball gown, but he's also listening to live race radio on his phone. Ted is a man of his word. When Ted bets he'll mow the lawn in a dress on race day if he's wrong, Ted mows a lawn in a dress on race day. But don't worry about Ted. He's tracking his favorite driver. He can see live race telemetry. He hears his driver talking to the crew chief. He knows exactly where his driver is on the track right now. No, Ted is not missing a thing. Only his pride and one high heel. This is happening now on America's most dependable 3G network, bringing you the first and only wireless 4G network. Sprint, the Now Network.
I'm just a little concerned that Ted's from my hometown of Sacramento.
That actually explains a lot, doesn't it, Kyle?
That does explain a lot right there.
Tony Stewart back to the inside for another restart. You know, last night in the nationwide race, all the leaders chose the bottom for restarts.
Now, I think you'll see that outside lane hang a little bit longer this time, Kyle, instead of getting single file. I think the last time you had Ambrose up there, and I think it seemed to me like those guys didn't want to work with Ambrose too much, and they all dumped him real quick. And now they're comfortable with each other, you know what I mean? Yes. Although Marcus has been around a lot, when you come to these racetracks, you want to look up in the mirror and know somebody that's been here a lot.
Yeah, and we talked about this last night during the nationwide race. The nationwide race had the double file restarts, but when we looked at them, they didn't necessarily work the way we thought they were going to work. And that's because some of the guys that were up front, I don't believe everybody that was up front, all the Cup drivers, were comfortable running with those guys last night. Clint Boyer wasn't comfortable running with some of the regulars over there. So it's different. Just like you say, they're not comfortable with Ambrose here. Now, Ambrose kicks their butt when they get to the road courses. Okay, they're comfortable running with him there.
Yeah. New leader, Denny Hamlin back out front. Whoa, look at Kyle Busch stuck to the bottom.
That's a
Denny's got to go
crossover
down there
move.
and block that.
I don't know if he's blocking or is he trying to get that push, because Kyle was coming. And if you can time it just right, look up in the mirror, which you drive these cars as much in the mirror as you do out the windshield. You see a guy coming, you want to get up in front of him so you can get that push.
Elliott Sadler has moved his way up towards the front, too. He's in that black and yellow number 19, Larry.
Well, yeah, Elliott started back in the 23rd position. Another one of those dodges. I've been watching these dodges, and they're flexing their muscles just like they did in the Daytona 500. Remember, Elliott led up to 1 lap to go in the Daytona 500 before the rains moved in. Matt Kenseth got by him just 1 lap prior to the weather moving in. And remember, Richard Petty Motorsports, besides Infineon, one of the highlights of their season, 3 cars in the top 10 in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, he really felt like that one got away from him, too. Sadler way up high. He's got Tony Stewart right to his inside, Lindsay.
Yeah, Ralph, and I was going to reiterate what you said. He said that earlier, that he does feel like that is the one race that got away, but as a matter of fact, it's given him a heck of a lot of confidence here tonight. He did get on the radio, talk to crew chief Kevin Buskirk, and just say, I'm a little bit tight, but they feel like they made good adjustments. He took 2 tires on the last stop, and so far, so good for Elliott Sadler.
You saw Tony do something there. Tony got right on the door of the 19, took him up the racetrack a little bit, turned left and drove away from him and drove back down to the bottom of the racetrack. That's the first time I'd seen Tony, and I want to go on the record here. First time I've seen Tony off that yellow line all night long. Once they dropped the green flag and he started on the pole, he stayed right on the bottom of the racetrack.
But I think what happened on that deal, I think he was in jeopardy of getting stuck in the middle, and I think he moved up there, you know, in order to get back in line.
You see the 18 car and you see the the sparks right here. That's fuel load.
This portion of TNT's wide open coverage, the Coke Zero 400, is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, world's most refreshing beer.
That's the spot right up there. Set it down. Good job. Wants a beer. I'll give this beer. That's what I'm talking about. Incredible game.
Hottest sport meets the world's most refreshing beer. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
3 wide, deep through there. In that middle lane. Not where you want to be. And look at what's happening to Casey Kane. It gives you a quick indication of why you don't want to be there.
Yeah, you're right. It's crazy back here right now. This is what we were talking about earlier, where these cars start dancing around and you get a run. You really have to be careful, and you don't want to be in the middle here, Ralph. You're right. You're looking for a spot. You're looking for that spotter to go clear. Now he's in line again.
Outside 33.
And breathing.
Clear.
Because you're holding your breath when you're in the middle like that. Trust me.
Well, I'll tell you, when you watch it, you hold your breath for the guys. Joey Logano's, who we're riding with, who finished 4th last night in the nationwide race, only got 40 laps in the Daytona 500. So in the Cup cars, not a lot of experience for Joey Logano here on the big speedway at Daytona. Now we're riding Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Now watch the run Dale gets. You know, he gets up high there, and look at this. See the run he gets when he runs that high line? And if you time it and it all works out right, you make up a lot of position. He never lifted the throttle. No. And that's what we're talking about earlier. You've got to stay on the gas here, even if it means bumping somebody, because you get off the throttle, you lose everything you worked for.
I'm telling you, as a driver here, you just about want to wear a mouthpiece because your teeth are sore when the night's over with from people banging on your bumper. But that's part of the racing here, because you saw him come off the corner, get that run. He couldn't go the inside because the 99's on his left rear quarter panel right there. He can't tuck back across there, but he's got to bang on the guy in front of him to keep him moving forward.
Now you're riding with Harvick. Watch this in the replay. Ooh, wow.
Below.
Man. But okay, Truex down there.
We got to get away from these
Now, see, he lifted the throttle for a second, and those guys are just driving away.
Yeah.
He lost 5 car lengths, 6 car lengths, and all that was, of course, he had to breathe it because the guys were wrecking in front of him. But what I'm saying is that's a classic example why you can't get off the throttle at Daytona. And Allmendinger is sideways off of 4 in the 44 car.
Sideways behind that 24, man. And gaining on the 24 the whole time he's sideways. AJ did a great job down here in February in that 44 car. And I know, just as you said, this was a bright spot for Richard Petty Motorsports, and they were looking forward to coming back down here.
Matt Kurt Busch got kicked way back after that bad pit stop. He fought his way up to 8th.
Ralph, he's climbed all the way from 21st up to 8th. He said that the car, he's provided a lot of excitement out on the racetrack and on pit road. He said the car almost seems like it has a life of its own.
I feel like we're loose in.
I'm weirded out by the front springs and the shocks. I think we're too soft with the front springs, too aggressive with the front shocks. It goes through a bunch of mood swings. I don't know what to change to make it any better.
Now, the car was loose on the first run. They didn't make any changes, but the last segment, Pat Tryson called for an air pressure change to try to tighten up that blue deuce.
And I think, Kyle, I don't know what you think on this. When he says aggressive on the front shocks, I think it means he's got like either a lot of rebound or bump. And what's happening is he's going over the bump, and it's pinning the front of the car down, which is making the car loose because the car's not floating over the bumps.
Yeah, and the front's pinned down, but the back and the front are not working together. And when the front's pinned, then the motion and the momentum or the energy of the car can only go to one place. It goes to the rear of the car, the rear bounces, and it gives him that loose feel because it never settles down. You can get real over aggressive with the soft springs and the bump stops they run down. You can get way over aggressive at a place like this on shocks.
The world's hottest sport means the world's most refreshing beer. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
That's the spot right up there. Set it down. Good job. Wants a beer. I'll give it a beer. That's what I'm talking about. Incredible game.
Hottest sport meets the world's most refreshing beer. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
Once we got past lap 3, Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart, between the two of them, they've led every lap since. Matt, what's the latest on Mark Martin?
Checked and released from the Info Care Center. He's in the hauler, but the 39, Ralph, of Ryan Newman, a lap and a half ago, came on the radio and told his spotter and his father, Greg Newman, keep an eye on my right side. I just stuffed it in the fence. We may have to hit pit road for a tire.
Well, I know we're all looking to see if we can see something on Newman's car.
Yeah,
Here, maybe we can.
He's just going to settle in right now and try to feel this car out. And obviously, he's just going to.
You know, that was something we were talking about earlier today in the meeting, how you guys feel things and how long you wait and the different things you hear and feel out of the car.
Well, you know, I used to say all the time, you know, your butt never lies. What that race car is telling you, what you're feeling in the seat, you can never second guess. I'll second guess my crew chief. Yeah. I'll second guess the tire guys. I'll second guess everybody, but I won't second guess my butt. If that car feels like it's wrong, then you've got to believe it.
The 88 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., 19th, Adam.
And remember when Wally and Kyle talked about needing a mouthpiece at Daytona? Well, I think Junior would have liked one on that first run of the night. Said the right tire really bouncing on the bumps. They've gone to work on it extensively on their first two stops. At one time, he was actually outside the top 30 after starting 19th, but he's coming to life, as he often does at Daytona, up to 19th in the running order.
Wow, look at that. Diving to the bottom goes the 83 at Vickers to get just in front of him.
Look at that 20 car up there next to the wall, man. It's like he was using it. But I want to say something about these cars. Since we've gone to these cars, and we were talking about Ryan Newman a minute ago, one thing NASCAR has done, they've put so much padding and so much bracing in the right side of these cars that the sides don't cave in like they did. We saw Michael Waltrip get into an accident on pit road during the Nationwide race last night. Caved the car in. Looked like it drove the frame rail in. These cars, they've got about 2.5 foot or 2 foot of padding, or I guess it's an insulation. It's like a foam in the right side. And the doors don't cave in, so they don't lose their structure. And as we look at the 39 car, you get a decent view of him. Yeah, it's scraped up, but it doesn't look. But what it doesn't do is when you hit that right rear and it moves that rear to the left, that changes the handling of the car.
Lindsay, the 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya visited pit road. What'd they do?
Well, you guys take a look at this tire. This is the right front tire. Juan said he felt there was a problem. He felt it possibly going down, and take a look at that shredding that you see on the outside. They brought him in. They had no other choice. They gave him new tires, and look at that. Right now, their focus is on staying back on that lead lap, guys.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to stay on the lead lap, Lindsay, but at least he will be the only car one lap down. So if the caution does come out, he'll get it. But these guys will run him down.
Oh, yeah, they're going to get him eventually. But, you know, I was talking to a guy in the garage here, one of the drivers, and you know, he said the first practice, the racetrack was green, and they wore the right rear a little bit. When they went to the night practice, then it seemed that most of the pressure was on the right front. He said he ran about 10 or 12 laps, and he heard a ticking sound. He stayed out there for about 3 laps, came in, and his tire looked exactly like that tire. You see the tire comes apart, and it begins to tick and to hit the fender. And just like you said, always believe what your butt tells you. That's Montoya believing what he felt through the steering wheel and what he felt in his rear end.
And you look at that tire that Lindsey just showed us. I mean, you know, once they get to that point, they go fast. You know what I mean? You'll feel the car sliding and you'll know something's wrong. It's like, all right, I got to come in. But when it gets to that point, 1 lap, they just shred so fast. So you have got to be on top of it.
He was 25th before he pitted, Larry.
Well, yeah, well, I've been watching, you know, the first run before that first caution, we ran 12 laps. The next run before caution number 2, we ran 11 laps. This is by far, now we're at 15 laps, the longest green flag run. And this is when we started seeing some tire issues show up in practice. But Kyle and Wally, one thing that a lot of the teams lobbied for is NASCAR, in Goodyear, they give them recommended air pressures, but they mandate the right front air pressure, and here it was 50 PSI. The teams lobbied, let us take some air pressure out of the right front tire, because the pattern we saw in practice, the teams that were more up in air pressure on the right side tires, that seemed to be the ones that were having problems in practice on Thursday. So a lot of the teams trying to get down on air pressure a little bit, maybe to help this problem.
And they did that, Larry, really because we're our own worst enemies, aren't we?
Yeah.
When it comes to the tire pressure.
You'll always push the edge.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, whatever works, and it may be, and I don't want to use the word dangerous, but if there's, you know, if it's on the edge a little bit and it's worth 0.2 of a second, we'll go there without even second guessing.
But understand, NASCAR comes, or Goodyear comes down here, and you do a tire test, and you do it under controlled conditions, okay? It's like an experiment. Then when you come back and it's a race, that's not controlled conditions. That's everybody trying everything they want.
Coming up is a look at Inglourious Basterds, Quentin Tarantino's new action-packed film starring Brad Pitt. Theaters everywhere this summer on August 21st.
I'm putting together a special team. We're going to be doing one thing and one thing only, killing Nazis. I'm going to assume you know who we are.
Everybody in the German army's heard of you.
Probably heard we ain't in the prisoner taking business. We in the killing Nazi business. Cousin, business is booming.
An American Secret Service outfit is deep behind enemy lines. The Germans call them the Bastards.
Well, we're all tickled to hear you say that.
The German High Command is throwing a gala premiere in Paris.
You're getting us in that premiere.
Is that the plan?
That's about it. Or not.
You're now in the hands of the SS. My hands, to be exact.
Inglourious Basterds. Rated R.
Great job by Kyle picking out Mike Myers in there. That was great by you. And you can see they finally caught and blown right past Juan Pablo Montoya. He was a second slower than the rest of the pack with nobody to help him drive.
Yeah, but you're a sitting duck out there. You're running by yourself a second and a half, sometimes slower. And they're going to catch you. You know, they caught him in, what, 3 laps? He left the pits, and they caught him in 3 or 4 laps. And his best hope is that he stays where he's at and he gets a lucky dog, or, you know, he catches a caution.
And I can tell you this, too. You know, when you're up like in this situation, the leaders don't have much patience for a guy that's a lap down amongst the leaders. I mean, you know, they're kind of spread out right now because they're off their tires. But certainly, it's just they want to be on the tail of the guy, especially when, you know, you're coming in for a pit stop. If you come in for a pit stop, that 1 or 2 seconds is critical when you leave the track and hit pit lane. And you don't want to have a lap car in between you and the guy you're racing.
Problem for one being in that position, you can see from that graphic, this would slip him just outside that top 12, but you've got to be in that top 12 to make the chase.
I'm telling you, these guys are starting to slide around now. We're getting to that point, like Larry said, that they're starting to really get off on these tires.
Top 5, Stewart, Kyle Busch, Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, and Kurt Busch, Marty.
Yeah, Kyle Busch out there, and we've seen Kyle bouncing around everywhere, wheeling that race car, and he's very happy with it. Says it came in about 8 laps into the run is when it started getting good. A little bit too tight up top, a little bit loose on the bottom. Just told his guys on the radio, whoa boy, business is picking up. Me and the 14 heading forward.
Problem is with this deal, though, the car comes in on lap 8, quickly goes away by lap 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you hear drivers when you're monitoring the radio, they'll say, let me know when lap 18 comes, because in their mind, they know that's when their car goes away, and that's when they're going to have to find a comfortable place to run. They can run hard for 10, 12, 15 laps, but then they settle into a pattern and wait till the next pit stop. And this is where you want to find a running partner during this time of the race and say, okay, let's just settle in here. Let's don't race each other. Let's run nose to tail. Let's just bide some time. It's early in the race, 52 of 160 laps, and then we'll make our move later.
You know, Adam, we thought Dale Earnhardt Jr. was looking pretty good there for a while, but now he's dropped all the way to the 24th position. Something wrong?
I guess that's what I get to have an optimistic attitude, Ralph, because he has dropped back, as you said, to the 24th position. He came on the radio and said, I'm going to blow a tire. This thing is so tight. He's dealing with handling issues. We talked about it from the outset. You must handle well to win at Daytona. It's been a struggle this evening for the 88 bunch.
We touched on it as we listen to him going to the corner. Let's just listen to the throttle, because this is where you start getting off the throttle when your car is not handling. Let's just ride with him here a little bit. He's got a lot of... Yeah, see? He's backing off the throttle, and that tells you that his car's not handling, because if he just stayed on the gas, he'd go up and hit the wall. So he's basically rolling off the throttle, letting the car grip. When he feels like the car's got grip, then he's getting back in the throttle. So this is where these guys really start driving.
And like he says, my car's pushing. That's hard on the right front, because you're easing off of it, letting the car turn into the corner, load that right front, then you're standing in the gas, and you're really forcing the issue on that right front. So you're not letting off of it, letting it breathe in the middle. You're still hammering it all the way through the corner.
Let it take a set.
You let it take a set, and then you just stand on that right front. So that's where he says, I got to get off this right front at some point in time tonight.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, at this point, you know, when you're doing it, and this is a terrible thing to say, but you're hoping somebody else blows a tire before you.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you're hoping right now. If it happens, you hope it's somebody else.
And from a driver's standpoint, it is always somebody else until it happens to you.
Fans Fast Food doesn't have to slow you down. Race over to Subway restaurants today for a sweet onion chicken teriyaki.
Welcome back to NASCAR on TNT Live. Mark Fine alongside Larry McReynolds and Wally Dallenbach. And guys, what a race we have for fans today. Wally, let's get right into it. A lot of strategy in this race. What should we be looking for?
Well, I think it's always going to be about fuel strategy.
Man, am I hungry. I knew I should have eaten something earlier. How long is this race? 400 miles. Man, there's no way I can make it that long. You know what would be good right now? A delicious, fresh Subway sandwich.
And we're clear. 2 minutes, guys. Back in 2 minutes.
Hey, guys, give me the usual. Make it fast.
Sure thing, Mr. McReynolds. Coming right up. Here you go, sir.
Great job. Gotta go.
The third caution is now out.
This would be perfect for him. Rep. When he feels like the car's got grip, then he's getting back in the throttle. So this is where these guys really start driving.
And like he says, my car's pushing. That's hard on the right front, because you're easing off of it, letting the car turn into the corner, load that right front, then you're standing in the gas, and you're really forcing the issue on that right front. So you're not letting off of it, letting it breathe in the middle. You're still hammering it all the way through the corner.
Let it take a set.
You let it take a set, and then you just stand on that right front. So that's where he says, I got to get off this right front at some point in time tonight.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, at this point, you know, when you're doing it, and this is a terrible thing to say, but you're hoping somebody else blows a tire before you.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you're hoping right now. If it happens, you hope it's somebody else.
And from a driver's standpoint, it is always somebody else until it happens to you.
Fans Fast Food doesn't have to slow you down. Race over to Subway restaurants today for a sweet onion chicken teriyaki.
Welcome back to NASCAR on TNT Live. Mark Fine alongside Larry McReynolds and Wally Dallenbach. And guys, what a race we have for fans today. Wally, let's get right into it. A lot of strategy in this race. What should we be looking for?
Well, I think it's always going to be about fuel strategy.
Man, am I hungry. I knew I should have eaten something earlier. How long is this race? 400 miles. Man, there's no way I can make it that long. You know what would be good right now? A delicious, fresh Subway sandwich.
And we're clear. 2 minutes, guys. Back in 2.
Hey guys, give me the usual. Make it fast.
Sure thing, Mr. McReynolds. Coming right up.
Yes, sir. Great job. Gotta go.
And we're back. Welcome back to NASCAR on TNT Live. Mark Fine again alongside Larry McReynolds and Wally Dallenbach. And again, guys, we talked fuel going to be such a big part of the race today.
Fuel up today at Subway restaurants where you can grab fast food that will fill you up without slowing you down.
Subway. Eat fresh.
Matt Kenseth had dove to pit road. He was running third at the time, and the third caution is now out.
This would be perfect for him because he's pitted already, and he was on pit lane already, and all those guys are going to come in and pit, so this should put him in front. I saw something fly up in the air.
It's off of Sam Hornish.
Was that a tire?
Looks like it.
That was a
Looks
tire.
like a right rear.
Yeah. And
So-
there it was.
Montoya
We knew it was coming. So.
Don't forget, Montoya
Eventually.
now is going to take advantage of that.
Right,
He'll get
right.
the lucky dog.
And look how it's torn the side. Absolutely. And that foam, you see that foam coming up? That's the foam I spoke of a minute ago. The foam that I spoke about a minute ago in the side of Ryan Newman's car that keeps the side from caving in. As that tire comes apart, it just rips that foam apart.
Boy, I don't know what that is hanging there underneath the car. Right under. Looked like it was important, though. Whatever it was.
It's like when you put it together, you have that piece left over. He was running 10th, Matt, on the 77.
Drew Blickensderfer talking to the Goodyear engineers about the right rear tire that came off the 17. Much like it was in practice when he had the issue, the center section chunked out in huge long strips about 5 to 6 inches. And they are still talking over, but this was the concern that some teams had after seeing some of the tire issues from practice. The 9 also had some blading on the left front 2 stops ago.
On the left front, Matt?
Left front.
Really?
And the reason why you're more surprised by the left front is because it's the right front that's taking all the load.
Yeah, usually it's just
more than the left front.
And that's what we've heard about all week is right side tires. We've not really heard anything about left side tires from just about anybody in the garage area.
What do you think, Larry?
Well, there's 2 concerns on pit road about tires. One is what we're seeing happening, what we saw with the 17 car and what we just saw with the 77. Matt Yoakum and I talked to Drew Blickensderfer this morning. The other concern was the lack of tires. Teams were only allowed 6 sets of tires. And when you think about it, they're fixing to put their 4th set of tires on this race car, and we're still a good 20-something laps of halfway.
Well, that's a good point.
You can see everything they've got to clean up on the racetrack now as well. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. Back to the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona, powered by Coca-Cola. Cars rolling down the backstretch as fireworks are exploding over the back Grandstands over there on the back stretch. Fireworks going off all the way over on the beach. We can see them all the way from up here. That's the great thing about sitting up here in the booth at Daytona. You can literally see all the way to the Atlantic Ocean where all the resorts and hotels are at. You can see the fireworks going off along the beach. So a lot of these guys might be heading to pit road here, I would think.
Oh, yeah, no question. Then they're looking for 4. It's not going to be right sides and fuel.
No doubt
not
about
this
it.
time.
Down pit road we go and over to Matt.
And Kurt Busch's team, they've worked that loose condition out of his race car. No change is expected for this stop by the Blue Deuce. Nice stop in his box as the crew guys go to work. Let's go further up pit road to Adam.
Johnson said on his radio, Matt, that he is good into the corner, but tight off. His crew chief, Chad Canal, said, "You're doing a great job, Johnson. 4 tires, fuel, and a slight adjustment." Marty Snyder.
Kyle Busch, top center, says the car is tight in traffic, loose when he was running in second, so he wants no changes on that car, just 4 tires. Tony Stewart is in the top left corner of your screen, a little bit tight for Stewart, half pound on the right rear tire to loosen him up, and he easily wins the race off pit road.
Tony Stewart's guys have been absolutely on it tonight on pit road. They have gotten him off pit road every time first. Watch Carl Edwards.
2, 1, stop on the sign.
Oh,
wow.
Stremme taking out that right front tire.
You know, listen, Kyle hit on it earlier. You don't realize how tight these pits are, but when you got 43 cars coming in at the same time and leaving at the same time, even though these are big pit boxes, you're trying to get in there as fast and tight as you can, and there's always going to be somebody standing there.
And that's why, you know, and we say it all the time, those guys that jump over those walls and change those tires and jack those cars and gas them are the unsung heroes. I'm glad we're putting their names up on the screen tonight. I think it's pretty cool down in the right side corner there to list some of the guys, because when you take a blow like that, man, that's a big deal, dude.
And those guys are athletes to do what they do.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. For the latest on Toyota's drivers and racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward.
Want a driver's autograph? Leave it to the driver seeker.
Here's your target. Good luck.
Our FedEx Camry is really running great. Very happy about it. What?
There's something on my car. Oh, it's got a peg. Be careful.
Hey, kid.
Well, Matt, we're spending a lot of time talking about tires tonight. What's the story with Kurt Busch's tires on the 2?
The team and the Goodyear engineers looked over the tires that came off the 2 car. They look great. Now they've got 3 sets left in the pits. When they get down to 2 sets, then they can go to NASCAR and ask Goodyear for more sets. Up until that time, they can't. Now, if teams do fall out, NASCAR is not disallowing teams to pick up tires from other cars that have fallen out. Marty Snyder?
And on the other end of the spectrum, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, their tires look really good. The right rear on Kyle Busch's car, a little bit chunked in spots, but otherwise very good. Tony Stewart's tires almost impeccable. So it's odd. The guys up front, their tire wear looks terrific. Some of the other guys, not such a good tire wear night.
Problem for the 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya. He's being black flagged. They say he's got something hanging. You see it, Wally?
Must be on the other side.
Yeah, or it's come off the car. Who knows at this stage of the game? But NASCAR obviously saw it. So,
but the other side, but the other side of the car is the side he got hit in a minute ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, is Robbie sitting there?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, he's definitely got something.
That looks like that might be just tape.
Field coming back to the green. Here we go. And Kenseth on the bottom with the restart. Same place everybody's been so far tonight. Kenseth had the lead when the green came out, but Larry, he's fighting to hang on right now if he can get a good shove from Hamlin.
Yeah, but guys, it was the perfect world for the 17 car because remember, before he made the green flag pit stop, he was running with the leaders. He was on pit road when the caution came out, so when he drove off pit road, he was still on the lead lap. Everyone else had to come in, so basically the problem he had with the tire, it gave him the lead of the race.
And you know another thing Larry dodged the bullet on? He was the only one that came down pit lane. And sometimes that's not the thing to do in a restrictor plate race.
Well, again, I think because the caution came out, that's the thing that saved him. If he'd have stayed in there and we were green flag racing, he'd have went a lap down.
You know, that old adage of better be lucky than good. I mean, every time like that it pops up, it just really came true there for him.
If we can get a shot of the 48, see his hand in there? I've been watching the 48's hand on that steering wheel all night long, and it's spectacular because that thing is just going left to right. When you see him going through the corner, I don't know what he's saying about his race car, but it looks like it's a handful right now. He's fast,
Still inside,
and he's running up front.
This is where you want your competitors to, you should wear black gloves so your competitors don't know how bad your car's driving. Because if they can see your hands going everywhere, they're thinking, my God, I got to get away from that guy.
Like playing poker, huh? You want to have the sunglasses on so they can't tell?
So they can't see your eyes, baby.
You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT.
Temperatures.
For the weeks, he's having problems with his pitching elbow, and team doctors want him to sit out some games.
High pressure system continues to sit over the area, and that's going to mean more.
Once you've dealt with the things that come between you, don't let erectile dysfunction get in the way. Viagra, America's most prescribed ED treatment, can help you enjoy a more satisfying sexual experience. To learn more, spend some quality time with Viagra.com. Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Don't take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease in vision or hearing. Now's the time. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Jimmie Johnson battling side by side with Kurt Busch. Jimmy listed in 5th right now as they come to the line. We're talking about his hands. Let's see what he's saying about the handling of the 48.
I find like through 1 and 2, I'm really forcing the car onto the right rear, and it's helping it turn some. The last couple laps, I found a little something I can do through the bumps. But outside of that, I get in the corner real good. There's no need to let off. As I get to the center, I've got too much speed for the front tires on exit. So I just got to kind of be smart through the center, run about 70 throttle, let the front tires hang on, and then get back to wide open.
See his hand there? It just, I mean, it's just left to right. He's pretty calm about it. But I tell you, he's on top of the steering wheel.
But you heard him say the way he just turned it and loaded the right rear to help the car turn. And you've done that before. You know how it just kind of rotates the car and makes it turn.
Well, if he's got his hand starting out, Adam, at 9 and 3, from all the video that we're seeing, he's pretty much got that right hand up at 12 a lot of the time, meaning he's fighting that thing.
He is getting a workout in the Florida heat tonight and getting some sympathy from his crew chief every time the caution has come out. And Johnson has talked on the radio about his tight handling race car. His crew chief, Chad Knaus, has come right back and said, "You're doing a great job, Johnson. You're doing a great job." Knaus, not only the crew chief, he's playing the role of cheerleader tonight, and the results pretty dang good.
Jimmy only has 1 top 10 finish at Daytona since his 500 win back in 06. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT.
TNT, July 15th.
Whoever put you up to this isn't worth it. You've done your job, you can leave right now. Just tell me who you really are. Fed, cop.
From executive producer Jerry Bruckheimer. When you live on the edge of the law.
I run a special unit, deep cover.
What would you sacrifice?
I'm not worried about when you come back. I'm worried about who you are when you do.
How close would you go?
You have to build a
taste from the inside out. Get in deep
without going over.
They have you on video dumping the body.
Dylan McDermott.
Your own backyard is the Wild West.
In television's most dangerous new world. Dark Blue. New series premiere Wednesday, July 15th at 10. Right after an all-new Leverage on TNT.
Denny Hamlin back out front. The 77 of Sam Hornish received a black flag for sheet metal. He's down on pit road, and we're starting to get some reports of some weather in the area. Looks like it's a little bit west of us right now, coming our way over to Lake Pearson, kind of making its way in from De Leon Springs. We'll see if it gets here. Kyle, it could slip down below. Marty, we're hoping for the best with that weather, though.
Yeah, the Gibbs guys wouldn't mind it coming right now because they're out front. Of course, they would like to get past halfway for that to come. But let's give credit to Joe Gibbs Racing. When it comes to speed and handling at restrictor plate tracks, they have had it down lately. Kyle Busch obviously winning this race last year. But Denny Hamlin told me this week, someday I'm going to win a plate race. They have run up front. They had one of the best cars in the Daytona 500. Got caught in a wreck on the backstretch. Leading at Talladega last year. Cut a right front tire. You guys know the frustration of restrictor plate racing. You can have a fast car. It's not going to guarantee you the win almost all the time. So Denny wanting to keep it up front tonight.
Joe Gibbs Racing has won 3 of the last 4 races here at Daytona in July. Coke Zero, the only drink with real Coke taste and 0 calories, is making it possible for Edward N. of Ohio to take the ride of your life with a Coca-Cola Racing family driver. Buckle up because you're heading to Atlanta. An email with verification instructions and details on how to claim your prize has been sent to you from My Coke Rewards. Congratulations, Edward.
Here's Tony, right on that white line, or right on that yellow line again. You know, but these 4 or 5 cars after every restart, if you look at the 11, you look at the 18, you look at the 14, the 2's been up there, the 48's come and gone. But these guys seem to have been the cream of the crop for the first 5 or 6, or for the first 60, 70 laps of the race.
Kyle Edwards up there, we haven't really mentioned him, I don't think, too much in the 99 car. He's actually been making his way up there, making some pretty good moves, so his car looks like it's coming around.
Well, between the 2 of them, Hamlin and Stewart, they've led all but 6 of the laps here tonight. A little bit further back, you'll see the 00, David Rudiman. He started near the back of the pack tonight, and he's already up to 11th. There he is. Casey Kane just in front of him, and Elliott Sadler. Matt watching the 9 and the 00 right now of Kane and Rudiman.
Eventful night so far for the 9 of Casey Kane. Back on lap 40, slapped the wall, had his cousin Cole Kane keep an eye out on that right side for a tire rub. Really hasn't affected much of their game plan so far, just a little bit free. Back up front, lead change is Stewart. Moves around his old teammate, the 11 of Denny Hamlin, trying to keep that top spot now. And then to put a period on the 00, his car's been driving very well tonight. No changes on their last 2 stops.
Great call on the 99 there, Wally. Here he is 3rd now when he crosses the line that time. 3rd or 4th. I mean, he's just come, like you said, methodically. They've had 2 or 3 times to adjust on that car, to adjust air pressure, whatever. And he's worked his way from where he started. And now he's up here in the front of the pack.
I don't think the Coke drivers would be doing as well as they are here at the Coke Zero 400 by Coca-Cola had they gone along with those 2 guys at Coke. Now, I've seen some interesting ways for our sponsors to get their message out, but this idea takes the cake.
But you couldn't shift or do anything. And it was, I mean, going up the line and did this.
Hey, fellas. Remember us? Matt and Phil from the Coke brand? Ta-da!
Now that's tasteful, my friend. Just like the great taste of Coke Zero that they stole from Coca-Cola.
I think it's a danger to me and the other drivers.
Your right eye goes through the O, your left eye goes through the A.
It's called double eye, single focus.
Yeah, don't they teach that to you in racing school?
I think it's idiotic.
Don't fear idiocy, Jeff. Idiocy is the new smartness.
My job is to race. I have to have a clear view.
So you can just see around the letters.
Yeah, see, you can see us right now, huh?
Run the car.
Hey, hi, Mr. Labonte. How are you? Don't run me over.
Have you seen this? I see a guy who ought to watch his mouth or I'm going to crawl in there.
You couldn't fit through the window.
You can't see.
Use the force.
There's no force.
There's a force. Just because you haven't found it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Da, 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 da.
For enhanced race coverage of the NASCAR on TNT Summer Series, log on to NASCAR.com and click on TNT Race Buddy. Choose from 4 live camera angles, get up to them in pit notes, and chat with other race fans, all for free. TNT Race Buddy on NASCAR.com. And Wally, don't fear idiocy.
It's the new smartness. That may be my new line, man.
I love that.
I love that line.
That's
That is a great
good.
Coke commercial. That's a great Coke Zero commercial. That's my new. I'm gonna get T-shirts made up with that on it, man. Oh my goodness.
Denny Hamlin having a great run up front in the 11.
These guys have just, over the last 3 or 4 laps, have just rotated positions, it seems, a couple of times. You know what I mean? They just keep, it's the same 4 or 5 cars. They just want to run 2 wide. They want to run 3 wide. They want to run high. It's like they're filling each other out at this point in time,
Exactly.
trying to figure out, okay, where are you strong at? Where am I strong at? We're almost halfway into this thing. What do you got and what do you not have?
Let's go around the field, and we'll kick things off with Marty Snyder.
Yeah, kind of have to go around because the cars are all jumbled up, but Denny Hamlin so far has kept it out front. Terrific night for the FedEx team so far. Hamlin very happy with the car. When I talked to Mike Ford this morning, he told me the key tonight, finishing. They are 6th in the championship standings, but only 84 points in the chase, so just a top 10 is really what they want. Tony Stewart, you can count on 2 things tonight. They won the race off pit road, and he's been on the bottom of the racetrack the entire night. Takes about 8 laps for that 14 car to come in, but he always finds his way towards the front at the end of the run, Matt.
The 99 Carl Edwards, 3rd in line, and the yellow car hasn't gone to victory lane since last November here in Florida, South Florida. He's been on a roll, though, 3 top 5s in the last 6 races. This car was so good in practice, he quit early. But there's a crash on the racetrack.
On the backstretch. Big problems going down towards turn number 3. A lot of cars involved. Rudiman is in that. Gilliland is in there. Boyer. You see the 43 of Sorensen, the 83 of Vickers. There's Rudiman. Dale Jr. caught up in it as well. Smoke just pouring out of the 88.
And this is, you know, we talk about this racetrack all the time. The big accidents at Daytona happen almost always in the middle of the backstretch. Guys jockeying for position, inside, outside, and you just don't clear somebody or you clip somebody and you force somebody into a wall, and then it's a chain reaction because you got no place to go and you can't see.
Reed Sorensen in the 43.
Here they are in a straight line. I'm not even sure where this one starts. You see the 12 car. Wow. He gets tapped.
Yeah.
He gets into the back. It's like Casey gets in the back of him.
Yeah, and that's what happens with these cars sometimes. If you're not dead straight when you're hitting the guy in front of you bump drafting, you're going to turn them straight into the wall.
And you saw the 00 turn to the outside. Well, obviously he got hit in the back and turned the opposite way by somebody. Now look at that. You can see nothing. From where we were sitting right there, you could see from there, you could see nothing back all the way to turn 2.
Yeah, Casey definitely got into the 12, didn't he? Watch Rudiman in the 00 come around.
Yeah, well, at this point.
Right. Oh, man.
At this point, when you're behind something like that happened, all you can do is look straight, hold the steering wheel straight, get out of the gas, and hope you don't get run into or you run into somebody. There's not a whole lot you can do in this situation.
And the thing is, the accident started. Here's what happens with accidents at Daytona and places like this. You see these guys still piling into the wreck down here. There were almost 3 wrecks there, okay? You had the first wreck. You had the 12 and the 9 get together, all right? Then the 00 gets turned into the outside wall, starts another wreck. As those cars come out of the smoke on the other side, they continue to run into each other down in turn 3. That spread over about a mile and a half or a mile of the racetrack.
And what happened was when Casey was not squared up with the 12, when he hit him, the 12 was over just a little bit. It wasn't a flat square shot, and that's what turns the car to the right.
Inside the 6th door.
And watch
Bumper
Junior.
Clear.
He can't do nothing. He's holding it straight.
Come on, go high, go high, come on.
Runs
come on,
into
come on,
somebody.
come on.
There's nothing you can do about it. Most of it's luck if you get through one of these wrecks.
And that's why Wally and I said earlier, there is no safe place in this pack. There is no safe place at the back. There is no safe place at the front.
Speaking of luck, watch this one.
Just gets this straight.
Just gets by. Now, Junior's right behind him, and it closes up. And that's how quick it closes up. It closes up within a car length.
I'll tell you another one who was lucky was David Reagan, because when Rudiman comes back across the center of the racetrack, Rudiman almost drills him right in the door. He just disappears too fast.
When you're sitting in the race car, how many times have you closed your left eye or your right eye and grit your teeth? Because that's how you know it's that close.
And I always like it when the crew chief and the guys come on and say, great job of driving, and you never move the wheel. You never move the wheel.
But you took all the credit,
But you take all the credit
on that one.
There's plenty of times the crew chief says, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? So you got to take them when you can get them.
Kevin Harvick on pit road, crew working on the front of him.
Front right there, it's going to bolt to the front. Halfway down the back.
And these, these Band-Aids these guys are doing right now, they can put them together and they can get them back on the racetrack, but you know what? You're done. You're not going to be competitive.
No, you're done.
Yeah, these guys are points racing now, and now it's going to come in, and you're going to have to check and see, okay, who are the guys fighting to get in the top 12? Who are the guys that were in the top 12 that are going to fall out of this? Here's a 24 car with damage to the right front. And he had a strong car tonight. I mean, we saw him drive back to the front after he got to the back. So these guys are point racing. A lot of them are point racing from this point forward.
You saw the damage of the 24. He's second in points. You see Newman on pit road. He's 8th in points. Vickers is on pit road right now. Stremmy's car is on pit road as well. And Rudiman was just 13th in the points. Here they come, Matt.
The first stall off turn 4 is Carl Edwards in the 99. He's going to stop short in his box to help his exit. They're going to go back on a wedge adjustment they previously made. He's really interested to see what the tires would look like when they come off this car. It felt like he was starting to lose one. Adam.
Jimmy Johnson said the car's still a little bit snug, but it's getting better. You see him on pit road, top right of your screen, 4 tires, fuel, and another baby adjustment for Jimmy Johnson. Marty?
Denny Hamlin, top left of your screen. No changes on the stop for the FedEx team. He only wants some water in the car. Tony Stewart in the middle of the screen said he cannot be freed up anymore. They go down one round on the track bar, actually to tighten them up, and they are 4 for 4 on pit road with the 14 team. They win it again.
Tony Stewart's crew doing a great job. Watch it. There he is. Great work. You are watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. Back to Daytona International Speedway right now. John Andretti listed at the front of the field with Tony Stewart right behind him. There you see John in the 34. Time to see what Sprint says is happening right now, only on the Now Network.
Welcome to Race Day on the Now Network. Right now, 7,100 people are listening to live race audio on NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. Most commonly overheard phrase, 21 women just sent a text message from their phone to a giant video screen. Hello. And 17 people who saw their friend on television are calling that friend Now. America's most dependable 3G network, bringing you the first and only wireless 4G network. Sprint, the Now Network. Welcome to the Now Network. Population 49 million. Right now, 379 couples are splitting up. 253 by phone, 42 by email, and 84 by text message. 13,000 people are streaming Pandora on a bus. 3,700 people just found all their friends on Looped. 92 just realized they were in the exact same place. That's happening now. America's most dependable 3G network, bringing you the first wireless 4G network. Sprint, the Now Network.
Next week, follow the world's best drivers as NASCAR on TNT heads to the Windy City. Tune in as coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern with NASCAR on TNT Live. That's followed by Countdown to Green and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing from Chicago, presented by Papa John's. That's all Saturday, July 11 on TNT. So John Andretti now brings his Taco Bell entry to pit lane, and that'll put Tony Stewart back to the front of the field as we cycle all the way through. Lights off on top of the pace car. There's Tony back to the inside. This portion of TNT's wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
That's the spot right up there. Set it down. Yeah, good job. Wants a beer. Drop me a beer. That's what I'm talking about. Incredible game, man.
Hottest sport meets the world's most refreshing beer. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
Our fourth caution of the night took out a bunch of cars. Here's a look at the names that were involved in it.
Wow.
13 guys
13
all
cars.
together.
And good cars. Gordon, Harvick, Vickers. You look at Dale Jr., Sorensen, Stremme, and I mean, these are cars that had been to the front and had dropped back and could have been a factor before the night was over with.
How about the 99, Matt? What's going on with Carl Edwards? He's listed in fourth right now.
Bob Osborne just told Carl the concern about his tires, no need for concern. They looked fine. The concern now, weather in the area. They're watching it on the radar, but we're past halfway. So right now, if the rain does hit, which I think we've got at least 45 minutes, we would well be on halfway.
You can see the fireworks people hustling to get their shows in too, off in the distance over on the beach, off in turns 3 and 4. Pace car hustling to the inside to get down pit road, and we go back to green. Tony Stewart will lead him to the line once again.
You know, Tony's led this thing, and he believes in that inside line. We've not seen that tonight like I thought we really would. I really thought early in the race we may see somebody try inside, outside, do a couple of different things, but they've really not. He's not. Let me just say that. Tony's not.
Yeah, and one of the things we talked about too, Kyle, is the fact that you're going to start to think about who would you be in front of,
yes,
whether you shoot the outside or the inside. But nobody really seems to care about that. Everybody's just gone straight to the bottom like they did last night.
But I'll tell you what, I think when it comes down to it, if you're racing Hamlin, I'm not sure. I think I want to be. Well, it's still, you're right. It comes down to who's the strongest car behind you on that last shot. You've got it. That's what really it comes down to.
But when you look at it right there, you had Tony on the inside with the 18 car, Kyle Busch behind him, and Hamlin drives around him on the outside and is leading the race right now. So that's, you look at some of that stuff and you think, okay, well, maybe I am concerned about who's behind me, but at the same time, if I can just out-accelerate him, I'm just going by myself, and that's what Hamlin's been doing.
We've seen a couple of guys get black flagged tonight for having stuff dragging on the ground, and we're hearing now that Jeff Gordon's number 24 might be dragging the splitter.
That wouldn't be surprising, the way that the whole front of the car looked like after that wreck. And the right front of his car was really high. They had a lot of work to do to get that car, even close to being the right heights on that splitter.
Yeah, and this is a thing that you look at from the leaders. When we look at we look at Hamlin and we look at Tony, we look at those guys. There were so many cars in that crash that didn't go to the garage area. They just went to pit road and had some things done to them. There could be parts and pieces falling off. You come by one lap, there's nothing there. You come by the next lap, and there's a splitter laying in the middle of the racetrack. And NASCAR does the best they can to keep it, but at the same time, you never know when that's going to happen.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. involved in that big wreck, Matt.
Well, the National Guard guys are working on the race car. Always a great place for Dale Earnhardt Jr. What took place, Junior, from your vantage point?
I couldn't really tell. A couple guys got together, and I just tried to say hi, and the Double Zero was crossed up, and we got together with him pretty hard and tore the upper A-frame mount off the chassis. So the car's tore up too bad to get back out there, but we just got it driving good. It just freed it up enough to where it could go up through there. We was just trying to get around them. Everybody was in the way at that point, and we was just picking them off one at a time, moving to the front. So it's a tough race for us.
All right, thank you, Junior.
Thank you.
Drivers in 10th through 15th in the points entering tonight have all been involved in an accident in this race. It's really going to shake things up.
And that's where it was really tight. It's going to shake things up, but at the same time, it's going to keep things really tight because they're not going to get away from each other because they were all in accidents.
And then you got to count in Jeff Gordon, who is involved. He's second in points, and Newman 7th in points coming into tonight.
On that shot right before that, we saw him passing the Double Zero car, and the Double Zero car was running on the inside, trying to stay out of the way. Rudeman was. But there is a minimum speed that you have to maintain out there because you see these guys running 2 wide and 3 wide, and we've seen how these cars are a handful when you're trying to go around a car that's running that much slower than you. 10 miles an hour doesn't sound like a lot slower when you're running 189 or 90 miles an hour and the car's running 180 or 81. But let me tell you something. That closure rate on a car like that, when you're trying to figure out what you're going to do, is incredible.
And if you look at the points, 10th through 14th in points right now are only separated by 17 points.
The world's
That's
hottest.
pretty close this way into the season.
The world's hottest sport meets the world's most refreshing beer. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
That's the spot right up there. Set it down. Good job. Wants a beer. Drop me a beer. That's what I'm talking about. Incredible game.
The world's hottest sport meets the world's most refreshing beer. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
Jeff Burton on the bottom in the 31. He's got David Reagan right behind him. Reagan caught a huge break. That big incident a few laps back, got through there, and now he's taking advantage of it. David has himself in 8th.
Seems like, I don't know, maybe we're just getting to that time in the race, but it seems like these cars are, the handling's going off a lot faster after these guys have pitted than it was earlier, because you just see them searching a lot more on this racetrack right now. They're using a lot more racetrack, 4 or 5 laps after restart.
And maybe after that wreck, there's just a lot fewer cars out there, so they got a lot more racetrack to use, you know what I mean? Because they can figure out where they're at.
Watch how hard the 2 and the 31 have been racing each other here. Kurt Busch in the 2, Jeff Burton in the 31.
Yeah, but keep an eye on the 17 too. I'm sure he's going to turn possibly the 2 down a little bit, or there's a lot of pushing going on. See, he turned him.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm telling you, you've got to be straight when you push somebody in front of you, because if you don't, you're going to turn the guy. Especially this close going into the corner. You want to get off a guy when you get into, you don't want to be turning that wheel even a little bit and either get hit or bump draft somebody, or you're going to turn them sideways.
And that's why, there again, that was going into the corner, but that's in a straight line. How many times do we see guys get together in a straight line here?
Jeff Burton, Adam running in 6th.
And a moment ago, Ralph, Wally and Kyle talking about the number of drivers either just inside or just outside that chase cut line that have had issues tonight. Burton, not one of them, started 16th up to 7th. He has fought an ill-handling race car, but managing like he needs to try to make his way into NASCAR's version of the playoffs.
He's 14th in the points as we run right now. 54 out of 12th place. That's a smart race car driver behind the wheel of that 31.
And that is, but he's run good enough tonight to be right in front of that stuff too. You know, I heard Dale Jr. talking early in one of the broadcasts where he said, you know, yeah, can I get in the chase? Maybe, but I'm so far back. It's not like I'm racing one person. I'm racing a lot of people. This was a night where Dale Jr., to get in the chase, needed to be clean tonight. This is a night where a guy like Jeff Burton, to get closer to the chase, needs to be clean. So this is a big break for some of these guys and just a death knell for a lot of them.
You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. Now let's take a look inside the 14 car, where Tony Stewart has seemed a bit sluggish from time to time. I wonder what's wrong.
Let's do this. I'm starving. A double Whopper with cheese. You see cheese in there, King?
Denny Hamlin continues to lead up front as we're set now to go around the field, Marty.
We'll try it again. We'll try not to bring out a caution this time around. Denny Hamlin up front, and he has led 3 of the last 4 Daytona races, and believe it or not, still does not have a top 10 at this racetrack. On that last stop, no changes for Hamlin. Very happy. Takes about 10 laps for his car to come in, as it does for his former teammate Tony Stewart. He is very loose. They made a track bar adjustment on that last stop, trying to tighten him up, especially early in that run, but still sticking to that bottom line. Kyle Busch behind him is commenting as the race goes along. Remember, they had the best car in the Daytona 500, led 88 laps in that race. He's happy to be up front, very happy with the handling of the car. Again, after about 10 laps when the car gets from loose to tight, Matt.
2 tough weeks for Carl Edwards in the 99, 13th and 19th at Infineon in New Hampshire. Currently the fourth car in line in that front pack. The balance is good on that 99 car. He's just riding.
And the balance is also good on the 48, Matt. He has been solid all evening long. Just a tick tight has been what he has talked about every time the caution has come out. But there's no one better than Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson at adjusting on a race car. They have been solid throughout the evening, trying to work their way into the top 5. And then there's Jeff Burton. We documented a moment ago his situation in the points. The report on the race car, loose in and tight off. They continue to chip away, trying to help Jeff Burton where he needs to be at night's end. Matt?
The only issue for Kurt Busch, Adam, of late has been he just rubbed the Goodyear off the side of the tire on that left rear. He's been going back and forth between the bottom and the high side. At this juncture, he's decided the inside lane is better for the 2 car. Meanwhile, the 17 of Kenseth, he would like to run up top. His car extremely loose on entry, tight across the center, but his biggest issue, really loose late exit. He says spinning that right rear. Remember, he had that issue with the right rear earlier, so that is some concern for the Kenseth camp. Lindsay?
Matt, Joey Logano is running currently in the 9th, and when I talked to him earlier today, he said he didn't quite know what to expect out of this joint. However, after all, that's what he said last week in New Hampshire when he got his first sprint career victory. He said it's been a wild week. His focus right now is just getting some experience here on this track because he has not had success in the past. Right now, he feels very good. Right behind him, it's Jamie McMurray in that 26 car. Jamie said that his car just tight on the bottom of the racetrack. The winner here in 2007 of this race, very, very comfortable, except for being a tiny bit tight, Larry Mack.
Well, Lindsay, I'm watching the cars at 11th through 15th, and it's kind of an interesting group. You look at David Reagan in the 6 car, only 1 top 10 finish this year, and that was when he finished 6th in the 500 in February, running 11th. But the guy that I've been watching is this 78 car of Regan Smith. This is only the 10th start for him in 2009. They run a limited schedule. He finished 21st in the 500. But guys, the most amazing thing about this young man, this is his 51st career start. He has no DNFs, which is one of the reasons he won the Rookie of the Year last year in 2008.
Yeah, good call, Larry. Doing a really good job. Marcus Ambrose, he's hanging there right too. He's in the 16th spot right now.
There's Marcus in the 47. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT.
Sometimes the best way to get closer is to get as far away from it all as possible. Don't let erectile dysfunction get in the way. Viagra, America's most prescribed ED treatment, can help you enjoy a more satisfying sexual experience. Ready to talk to your doctor? Find out how at Viagra.com. Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Don't take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease in vision or hearing. 20 million men have had the Viagra conversation. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Tight, clean racing at the front between our top 5, but things a little rougher behind them as Marcus Ambrose, Paul Menard getting together. Menard in the 98, Ambrose in the 47.
Yeah, Ambrose was just in a 4-wheel trip right there, coming off a 4. and just got into the 98, and Jamie McMurray hits pit road.
Lindsay.
Jamie McMurray is coming down pit road because they said they have a tire issue, obviously. So now they're bringing him in. The plan to give him 4 tires and fuel. Jamie, like I said before, the winner in 2007 of this race, said he's very confident on this racetrack, but right now just going to worry about track position.
Yeah, and Lindsay, he's had a quiet night. He was running in 9th when he made his way down pit lane.
Yeah, now I mean, probably going to go a lap down. He's just got to hope it all circulates back, and he's in good shape once everybody pits.
Once everybody pits, because as we see him come into the pits here.
Stop on the board. Stop on the board.
Oh, he takes out the Jackman.
Yes. And I think that then I'm gonna have to say on that one, I think the Jackman was a little bit slow because you saw the tire guys already out there on pit road. The Jackman seemed to stumble, so I'm going to defend Jamie on that one. But Jamie's car, he may get a lap down and be the car a lap down here, but he's not been in an accident. The other cars that are a lap down have all been in accidents so far.
Speaking of cars that were in accidents earlier in the night, Mark Martin has come back out on the track. He's visited pit lane a couple times, and he's out trying to get some points. They put a new nose on the number 5.
And Jamie, he's in a good group right here.
Yeah, if he can just, and he's got a good enough car, and he can hang. If he can just jump in, we saw it a minute ago or earlier in the race with Juan Pablo. Juan Pablo pitted, he came back out, and he hung there about 10th or 11th, and when the caution came out. So he was able to hang on and stay in that draft, and I think Jamie will be able to do the same thing, just kind of hang there.
Tony Stewart, sandwiched by 2 former teammates. Guys he raced with when he was at Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch. Trying to figure out a way around their own teammate there, Marty.
Yeah, an old family reunion up there, 1, 2, 3, huh, Ralph? And you guys were talking about Tony selecting the bottom line. Here's one thing that Tony has talked about several times. The car is so loose to start a runoff with that it seems like the bottom is better. Seems like when he's up top, the looser or the higher he is, the looser the car gets. Now his car's a little bit tight. So I think really Wally and Kyle, it's more of a handling issue as to why Tony's hugging that yellow line more than anything else. So do you guys agree?
Certainly that explains it, Marty. I mean, if that's why he's choosing it, because he's too loose on the high side, then exactly. Especially on the restarts. Oh, we got the 0-0 in the wall.
Oh, David
clear down all the way down.
And he's been kind of having some issues. I saw him
coming on the outside there, outside, right front blue.
I saw him struggling when they went back to green.
But we saw that car. That car was torn all to pieces.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
It was
with going
good
back.
before that, though.
Yeah, but that's the problem with going back out on the racetrack. This is what we were talking about earlier. These cars that go back out, you come in, you try to fix these things, not get a lap down, try to fix them. And like you said must have cut a right front tire. You see the car, it's humming along there. Everything looks good. He's turning down, coming down the racetrack, boom. The fender comes up, he blows the right front tire because probably the tire's rubbing on something internally that you don't see from the outside.
Either that, or even if like you said, once you wreck one of these cars, it's never going to be perfect. It changes the handling and the way these tires are getting in the racetrack, so it just throws everything off, and you have a wear problem somewhere. That can happen as well.
Yeah. Bad break for him, good break for the 26 of Jamie McMurray.
Exactly. 26 car. Yeah, he just pitted, 3 or 4 laps ago?
Yeah.
Now, will he come down pit road because there's trash on the racetrack, or will he stay out? Because he's only got 3 or 4 laps on that set of tires. And we've already talked about the tire issue, but there's so many cars out of the race right now. I don't think the tire...
flames up in there.
And that's just the rubber burning that's up around the stuff. You can still see it in there, but that's the rubber from the tire that's wrapped up around the spindle and wrapped up around the hub. It just catches on fire.
Yeah, and you can't do it, but really you should call it a day at this point. Because now they're going to try to, get this thing back together, and the same exact thing can possibly happen.
I know, and you say, well, why are we trying to put this thing back together? Because we were right there on the cusp of being 12th in points. Yeah. We were 13th. We were 14th. There's been 2 or 3 races. We interviewed him out at Sonoma or out at Infineon. He said, look, I'd take a 15th place finish and go to the house at this time. Just to be there.
He's 13th right now. He's 48 out, Matt, as they get ready for pit stops.
And he'll be the first car that pits in that stall number 43. Now, The last time we were telling you the adjustment they made was wedge. They're going to make a wedge adjustment this time, reversing what they did last time, trying to free the car up this time. Let's go to Adam as he slides to a stop.
The 48 of Jimmie Johnson came on the radio, said really good, a little free, but I'll take it. First time tonight, they have not made adjustment. Top right of your screen, it will be 4 tires and fuel. This stop at lap 103, they'll have to come one more time, Marty.
Denny Hamlin in that 11 car says he's tight, especially off turn 2. 0.2 of a pound out of the right front and left rear tires, trying to loosen it up just a little bit at the end of that run. Tony Stewart in the middle of your screen right there, trying to win the race off pit road one more time. He will do it. 4 tires for Stewart, up half around on the track bar, halfway back on the adjustment they did last time.
Boy, Darian Grubb just has that 14 crew just hitting it perfectly.
Watch Jimmie Johnson. When he hits this pit, he locks it up and he's pointed to the wall. Yeah. He's too close to the wall.
Man.
Not only is it too tight, but he's got to drop it in reverse so he can clear the guys in front of him.
So Jimmie Johnson's back out. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. Hope you're enjoying your 4th of July racing tradition. Under the lights here at Daytona with NASCAR. Our wide open coverage continues here on TNT. Now, while you were talking about how Jimmie Johnson put himself in a bad situation here on pit road.
Yeah, just keep an eye on this car right here. When he comes down the pits, you'll see him lock the tires up. When you lock the tires up, you can't turn it. What he does is he gets in a bad angle on pit lane. He's not only too close to the wall, but when the 78 car comes in, see how he jams it in and kind of crooked there. He's in the box legally, but he's got Jimmie Johnson blocked. He's got to put it in reverse in order. Just one little mistake like that can cost you 10 or 15 spots in the pits. That's how important these pit stops are.
And we saw it last week at New Hampshire. The 5 car comes in. They have that one little glitch on changing the right front tire. He goes from leading the race to 5th or 6th, and the rain comes, and his day's over. And that's why pit selection, qualifying, it all starts when you unload that thing on a Thursday afternoon or on a Friday morning whenever they start practice. That's when everything starts that happens during the course of the race.
And who you pit around.
That's exactly right.
Because if a guy's going to come in like that, you've got to know that going down the road.
People used to always pit next to me when I used to drive because they always knew I was going to wreck or fall out, so they'd have an open pit.
The 3rd generation Prius, it's harmony between man, nature, and machine.
What if we could use the sun to help keep us cool? Solar-powered ventilation to help cool you. Available on the 3rd generation Prius. It's harmony between man, nature, and machine. It gives the world fewer smog-forming emissions. It gives you a 50 mile per gallon rating. The 3rd generation Prius. It's harmony between man, nature, and machine.
We were wondering if Jamie McMurray was going to pit. He did in the 26. Tony Stewart back out in front, courtesy of his pit crew, giving him great work. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. Loved watching those guys play Highway Star live today down on the stage. I thoroughly enjoyed that, Wally. Now, I know you maybe...
You think they were sweating?
Oh, gosh.
They were rocking, I'll tell you that. I really, Wally was kind of like, you know.
I'm sorry I missed it. I was in the back looking at pieces.
Yeah, well, don't worry, it was good.
Video pieces.
It was really good.
I'm glad you enjoyed doing the
more,
band thing.
We need to get you
I
more
was up here doing
culturally
work.
out there.
Yeah. No, you don't. No, you don't. Please.
Really, you and your tank, we need to get you a little bit more culturally.
So that is
tuned
cultural?
in.
That's cultural.
In my world, that's good culture right there.
That is good stuff,
I enjoyed
baby.
Buck Cherry, man, let me tell you.
I enjoyed it. My nieces and nephews enjoyed it, so that was okay.
All right, we're going back to this double file restart thing. We've had 5 cautions for 20 laps, 3 wave around cars. Inside line all night long, just like it was last night in the nationwide race, and it looks like we're doing it again. Tony Stewart, your leader, on the bottom. And again, Hamlin and Stewart up at the front.
I tell you what, Stewart's been getting a good restart too. He's always been a car length or 2 at this point. Now, if the high line can hang, it's going to have more speed coming off it too. One of these times, I think these guys are going to, the high line's going to go.
Yeah, they've been able to push one car out to the high line. They've just not been able to push the whole line out there. And at Talladega, that's the difference sometimes between Daytona and Talladega. That high line will get up and go like a freight train on the outside. But you see it again. They can hang right there, but the high line just breaks up and falls apart.
Man, oh, did it? Looked like it really got the back end of Stewart loose.
You're clear, 18th.
Contact will do that.
Yeah. Funny how that happens. Well, that was one of the things that A.J. Allmendinger was talking to us about the other day, Wally, is it can feel like a guy just puts a jack up underneath the back of the car, just lifts the back of the car and just moves it all around.
I'll tell you what, it isn't as bad as it used to be. No. But these cars are a lot better bump drafting if you do it, you know, because the old cars used to get the front end would go underneath the back of the car, and when it jacked up, it literally pulled the rear tires off the racetrack.
Yeah, because the other cars, the way they were designed and the way the rules were, the point was to get that nose and get it down out of the air, and you rake the body. With these cars, they don't allow you to rake the body. It's a flat body, and they put the thing on. The bumper has a height, the valence has a height. There's a lot of different measurements when they go through the inspection process. Used to, the quarter panels on these things, you could put 6 sponsors on in the back because it looked like a wedge car.
Yeah.
And so you didn't have any front end,
These
and it would jack the car up.
I mean, these cars are just like shoe boxes. You know, really, you can bang a shoe box together. And the old cars, you couldn't do that. I mean, you would get somebody underneath the rear end of that car, and I mean, it was terrifying.
Take a look at how good Tony Stewart's crew has been here tonight. All around that 14-second range down there in our race view.
Very consistent.
You know, and that what helps that a lot is to keep that pit crew motivated is being where Tony Stewart is right now. When you see your guy up front, you see your guy running second, that's that little bit extra adrenaline when you jump over that wall because you want to send him back out. You don't want to be the guy that we're putting up on the corner of the screen that says, just lost 8 positions, was leading the race, you know what I mean? And then list all their names. They want to be up there at the top.
You see Hamlin there on the high side. Didn't work out for him. But as Kyle pointed out, that top line seems to break every single time on the restarts. And if you guys, if they're not lined up, if you don't have 5 or 6, 7 cars lined up nose to tail, you're just going to lose you're going to lose the other line. The inside line has always been better at that.
Well, Hamlin dropped from 2nd to 12th in 2 laps, but look who else is in the middle of that pile. The 42, the target car of Juan Pablo Montoya. He's had a lot of ups and downs here tonight. Got the lucky break, got a chance to get back in the lead lap, and here he comes. How about that yellow line down there?
How about that yellow line?
You can't be ducking down there and gaining spots. Crossing that line and doing that.
We're in the TV
I don't know how you call that one.
We're in the TV booth. He was forced down there, too.
He was forced down there,
He got tired of running behind the 47. I'm going to say that. He got tired of running behind the 47. That's why he's fallen back so far. He got hung up behind Ambrose. But as he turns left and comes out of the pack, the momentum takes him all the way that far.
Okay, now, if the 11 didn't go below the yellow line, there would have been some contact there, but I don't know.
You're not going to go there?
No, I'm not going there.
In soccer, do you have like warning flags and stuff? Maybe I give him a red card on that one or something. I don't know. I don't understand soccer either. I don't understand this sport either, so there we go.
Right. Why worry about that? We can't handle this one. Why worry about it?
But we talked about it in the Wallace World piece is that if you're forced down there, if you don't go below the yellow line, there's going to be some wrecking going on. But it's just one of those calls. You've got to decide whether you want to stay there or not, or go below the yellow line or not. Too early to stay there.
Marty, what do you think about the 11 of Denny Hamlin?
Well, he was not very happy about that restart as he lost all those spots, as you guys mentioned, and he has not mentioned a word about the going below the yellow line thing. But what he did say is, now I've really got to go to work. Wally and Kyle, you know it's much harder to race back here trying to get back to the front than it was for Denny was earlier, first, second, third. This is a much tougher road to hoe for Denny Hamlin now.
It is, Marty, but the only thing I'd say on that is the 11 car has been so strong. I think if he had some help right now, I believe he would work his way up to the front pretty quick. He doesn't have anybody to help him right now. But you're right, Marty, when you get back there, it's a little bit tougher, but I still think he's got the horse.
Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for the past 25 years. Let's check in with our friends high above.
Hello again from high above the Coke Zero 400.
Look at all the tailgaters. Smell the hamburgers and the potato salad.
You can smell that up here?
It's a gift. In addition to good food, everyone who drove here could use new Fuel Max tires.
Exactly. New Fuel Max tires will help any driver, including the tailgaters, save 2,600 miles worth of gas over the life of the tires.
That's amazing. Your car uses less gas because the Fuel Max tread requires less energy to move.
Exactly. Goodyear developed special tread compounds for NASCAR, and with that experience has developed an innovative compound for the road like Fuel Max.
Today it isn't just NASCAR drivers who need a fuel strategy.
All of us do.
Remember last year at the LifeLock 400, Dale Jr. and the Hendrick team saved fuel down the stretch, and Jr. won on Father's Day.
Well, something exciting could happen later tonight.
Enjoy the rest of the race.
And remember, new Fuel Max tires will help you use less gas. You know, now I'm even starting to smell those hamburgers.
The Roush guys are smelling the front of the field, I can tell you that too, because they're running 4, 5, and 6 right now with David Reagan in 4th. Reagan had earned a 5th place finish in his first ever Daytona 500 back in 2007. Here's Logano right behind Hamlin. Didn't have much experience coming into this race in a Cup car here at Daytona. Getting a bunch here tonight. Only 40 laps in February, Lindsay. Not much, but he got a lot last night as well on that Nationwide race. Had a 4th place finish. Pretty good run.
Yeah, he did, Ralph, and it's funny because that's why Greg Zipadelli said today their goal is to change his mindset basically from defense to offense. They want him to take things that he's learned over the weekend and really apply them here, and they said that the confidence he's gained and little tricks they've been able to show him have really paid off. Right now, he said the car's a little bit tight in the center, a little bit loose off, but I talked to Greg Zipadelli this morning, and he said with this car that he drove to his first top 10 finish of the season at Talladega, he really thinks Joey can gain the momentum and the experience that he needs.
Well, and Joey's one of 6 drivers in the top 10 right now, Lindsay, without a restrictor plate win. They include David Reagan, Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, and Marcus Ambrose. And you know, one of the things I liked hearing about Logano was the fact that they're starting to work off of his notes now, as opposed to where Tony had been in the past. So him and Zipadelli were, wow, look at that.
I tell you what, the 6 car and the 18 just put a block on him, and he's going to cost all those guys positions just because the 18 was putting a block. And now you got the guys down, you got Kenseth down there in Hamlin. But I'll tell you what, the 6 car looks awfully strong, David Reagan.
The 6 car is really handling good. I think the 18 is his handling's gone away. And when we went to break right there, the 17 was almost sideways down under him, trying to figure out where he was at because the 11 was right behind him.
Marty, is there something happening with the handling of the 18?
Actually, his handling is getting better, according to Kyle inside the car. And Kyle Petty, here's something interesting that Kyle Busch is doing. Every time they go out on the track after they've come to pit road, he'll say, what lap is this? And they say 10. What lap is this on this run? He'll say 8 or 6 or whatever it is. What he's telling Steve Addington at that point is, this is when my car is starting to get good. You talked about drivers asking for lap numbers when they're out there. Kyle's actually telling his crew, now my car's good, now I can start being aggressive. He's saying his car a little bit too tight right now, though.
Boy, Kurt Busch got stuck someplace he didn't want to be.
He was in the middle there. It was just, he was sideways saving it and did a good job.
And I'm going to tell you something. Kyle Busch just did something, and I don't know that he did this, but this is the thing. You hear the old drivers talk about it. Bobby Allison, Cale Yarborough, Richard Petty, those guys. They would get a guy on their bumper and run half throttle or feather out, drop him off and take him to the back, and then run 4 or 5 laps wide open and drive away from him. We saw the 6 car and the 17. All these guys were all bunched up a minute ago. Kyle Busch just decided to run 2 laps wide open, and he's drove away from this pack. As wild as this pack is right here, he drove away from this pack. Look where he's at right now. He's 10 car lengths ahead of him. It's like he just separated the packs and said, I need to get back to that pack and run clean with that pack. And he just drove back to him.
Coming up is a look at Inglourious Bastards, Quentin Tarantino's new action-packed film starring Brad Pitt, in theaters everywhere this summer on August 21st.
I'm putting together a special team. We're going to be doing one thing and one thing only, killing Nazis. I'm going to assume you know who we are.
Everybody in the German army's heard of you.
You probably heard we ain't in the prisoner-taking business. We in the killing Nazi business. Cousin, business is booming.
An American Secret Service outfit is deep behind enemy lines. The Germans call them the Bastards.
We're all tickled to hear you say that.
The German High Command is throwing a gala premiere in Paris.
You're getting us in that premiere.
Is that the plan?
That's about it. Or not.
You're now in the hands of the SS. My hands, to be exact.
Inglourious Bastards. Rated R.
Starting to get dicey. Yeah, I was just going to say, starting to get a little intense out there.
Somebody's got the right front.
Out there, Curtis. 10-4, I'll look at it when he comes by.
Not sure what you're going to see when he comes by. But
Go clear all around.
Well, I guess what you're hoping is you're not going to see the tire shredding itself.
But even from a spotter standpoint, look at that 11 car. Just get a run on that 2 and
That's
whip
what I
out.
mean. He's got a horse.
He's got it, yeah. I'm a Wally with that one. This guy's got something that some of these other guys don't have right now. I mean, his car's driving good, but he has got a horse under it.
Talking about the 11, Marty, what are you hearing?
That was Denny Hamlin's radio, said that he's extremely tight. The car has been loose for much of the night. He radioed Mike Ford. I might have a right front going down. You heard the voice of Curtis Markham, former driver. Now Denny Hamlin, spotter, trying to do what he could do to see the right front tire, but obviously still going on.
Marty! Kurt Busch and David Reagan. Oh,
there goes the splitter.
I thought they were going to get together a little earlier. They almost had a big problem. They waited a little while longer, and then finally.
And I'll tell you what, I will be surprised if the 11's.
Now we might have some.
If the 11's right front isn't down to the cords.
Yeah, because he's hammered it this last time.
Yeah.
He has abused it. Up front, he's been able to just run his race. Now he's been forced to run somebody else's race.
Let's take a look here at the 6 car. You have to. Wow, no, it's just, man, you know, it's hard.
Kurt's had his handful.
Well, Kurt has been all over that car the last couple laps, but that's just, you know, you got 3 or 4 cars there. They're all moving around, you know, and I mean moving around. It's hard to explain how much these cars are moving. He's got 4 wide there. And David looks like he's trying to come up. He thought maybe he was clear.
Yeah.
So he kind of brought that one on himself a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say David. I think David thought he had a clear spot to get back up in front of Kurt and didn't realize it. But they're, like you said, they're 4 wide right there.
That's
you know what I mean? Here we've already had one big crash, and here these guys are running 4 wide down the middle of the backstretch. You think these guys don't drive hard every lap? But they're fighting for everything.
And as it gets closer to the end of the race, you'll see more. You're going to see more of this. You're going to see, it's not erratic, but you're just going to see these moves because everybody's trying to protect their real estate right now. You can't afford to get shuffled all the way to the back.
Wow. Kurt had saved it prior to that. I thought that's when they were going to get together. And then
Kurt's been sideways the last 2 or 3 laps. He's been, once he was in the middle, he's been sideways. And he was actually loose off the 2 right there, and he saved it.
And you see the flame shoot out of the 2 car. He let off. As soon as he got into it, he let off. That's the flame coming out of that thing. And then you saw him jump back on it and it popped the flame back into it.
Too bad. David Reagan was running 10th. He was having a really good run tonight. The 83 is going to get the lucky dog. Pits are open. Here they all come. We'll kick it off with Matt.
And Kurt Busch's team, the first thing they'll do when they go to work on this 2 car is also survey any kind of cosmetic damage to his car. There is a donut. He goes around the 9 of Kane into his pit box. He's at a bad angle. They're going to make a chassis adjustment, Lizzie, and air pressure, try to free him up.
Matt, Joey Logano also got a small chassis adjustment, 4 fresh tires. Greg Cipollelli said make sure you stop shorter in the pit box this time so you don't get boxed in. Adam?
Jeff Burton still tight, Lindsay. He said, don't make any changes. I don't want to take us out of the game. 4 tires and fuel, and they can go from here, Marty.
5 times of 14 cars pitted tonight, and they have won the race off every time. They win it again for the 6th time tonight. Car just a little bit too tight for Stewart. Small piece of tape on the nose and water for Tony, and that was it. 4 tires.
You know what, Marty? They are getting better, too, because this last stop, boy, they had everybody covered on that one. You can see 17 still having problems down there. Watch this here at the front of pit road.
Yeah, see, here comes Robbie Gordon.
Yeah, it's Robbie.
See, the 18's leaving at the same time. But, you know, a little tap there, but he could have lost a lot more than... He only lost 1 spot because of that. He got lucky.
Yeah, he was not going to beat the 14, even at that. He got a good stop. The 18 had a great stop, but he was not going to beat the 14. And the 7 slows down to be courteous to let the 11 out, if you saw that.
All right.
That was a good job by Robbie Gordon.
And Edwards right through the grass. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. Welcome back to the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona, powered by Coca-Cola on TNT. There you see the 99 and Carl Edwards sporting the Subway colors here tonight.
He's been solid.
Sure has, and he's sitting in 2nd right now.
Yep.
We had
gonna hold off. The weather? Yes. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna hold off. I mean, it's falling completely apart, spotty, so we'll see.
That's just what I was going to talk about. We had a report of weather quite a ways back, but it looks like it's not becoming an issue for now.
And look at us here in the TNT booth. We don't even have to go to our weatherman. We just get it from the guys on the racetrack. They tell us what the weather is.
Go to the 99 pit.
But that's kind of like it was last week. I mean, every time we were listening to them last week in New Hampshire, they said the weather's coming. It's going to be here.
We'll be right back in 1 minute and 15 seconds. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. Welcome back to Daytona. TNT's Coke Zero 400 at Daytona, powered by Coca-Cola coverage. Our wide open coverage continuing here tonight. We haven't missed a lap of green flag racing, and we're not going to miss any more because we've taken care of everything we've got to do. We're ready to go to the end, Wally.
How do you like that? That's a thing of wide open coverage, baby.
Love it. Love it. And the way things are shaping up here, we should have a great finish in store here tonight at Daytona. Lights off on the pace car. Tony Stewart, our race leader, once again at the bottom as we go with a double file shootout restart.
And we got some new blood up there in the outside line. Kyle, what did you just say?
He said shootout. Just for you. I had to slide one in for you.
Could smack you.
We
for
hadn't
that.
heard it all night.
Yeah, you completely butchered it. You said it wrong. That's why I wasn't sure exactly what you said.
Caught me off guard.
It was a great look, though.
Because I told everybody in Twitterville I was not saying that anymore.
Yeah.
Tell you what. See how, and there you go. Well, all of the bottom line broke up too. But I'll tell you what, if that 11 car gets up there, or the 18, they're going to hang Tony out.
Nope. He tucks in.
He tucks in.
Very nice.
You know, look, when these cars are full of fuel and they barrel off in that first corner on that first lap, it doesn't look like they settle down to halfway down the backstretch. They bounce so much and move around so much.
Look at how many laps Hamlin and Stewart have led here tonight compared to everybody else.
That doesn't mean anything. I mean, I don't think it means anything because when it gets down to the end, that's when the craziness starts.
Well, we're just going to add Jeff Burton to that mix because he picks up one.
And Tony's got him jacked up coming through there. I mean, he's sideways and backwards, it looks like. But, I mean, you know, we're back to the same 3 or 4 cars right there in the top 5. There's the 11 on him.
2 car opening back to 2 by 2.
Jeff Burton at the point, Adam.
And it's interesting that he's in the lead because he's one of 7 drivers, Ralph, that won in 2008 that are yet to visit victory lane in 2009. There have been 11 winners this season. There were only 12 all of last year. Burton hoping he can put his name on the trophy for the first time this campaign and give RCR the weekend sweep. Of course, last night it was Clint Boyer that took Richard Childress to victory lane in nationwide competition.
And of course, Tony Stewart has a couple of Cup Series wins here at Daytona, both of which came in the 400. There you see the winners that we've had this season, and such a variety of them as well. A lot of parity in the class this year. Stewart back at the front. Now Jeff Burton looking for a place to settle in.
Jimmy Johnson gets a pretty good run on the high side, and there's Montoya right in the thick of it after being a lap down earlier.
After being a lap down and out through the grass on the backstretch, you know what I mean? And I think that, you know,
he's got that free pass twice tonight, Kyle.
But in a lot of ways, that's a tribute to this car in some strange way. You know what I mean? Oh, something's happened to Burton. Something's happened to Burton.
Tire?
He had contact with somebody.
Adam, is that a tire going down on the 31?
Oh, 6 in the wall.
Oh,
He just came on the radio, Ralph, and said, I have a tire going down, leading a moment ago, and now the free-for-all through the field. The crew is ready, and Jeff Burton going to have to make an unscheduled pit stop, taking him out of the running tonight. Too bad.
You know, obviously, as he come through the trial, he felt something that he was not comfortable with, because as soon as he got through the trial, he shot down to the yellow line coming out.
But I'll tell you what, I thought I saw some contact, possibly with him in the 42 earlier in the lap. And all you got to do is get side by side and just touch each other a little bit off, not square tire to tire, and you can cut it.
Yeah.
And it happens fast when it goes down like that.
Another car that's been hanging around near the front here, this top 10 all night, is that one right there. Elliott Sadler, right now listed in 7th, has had a very good night tonight. AJ Allmendinger is in the top 10 as well. Jamie McMurray has fought his way back in that 26. He's up inside the top 10. It's amazing how you can fall out, come right back in on this deal.
And it comes down to all the guys that you're hanging out with. I mean, you know, you all of a sudden you wind up around 2 or 3 guys, you get together, and then all of a sudden your cars are rocking. It's like, man, I don't know what happened.
All right, you were talking about the 31 and the 42, Wally. Let's go on board with Carl Edwards and see if we can.
Yep. They did touch.
Yeah.
And that's all.
And right there, cut the right rear, right there. That one little hit.
And look at it.
Sure did.
And he felt it that quick. I want you to see how quick he felt it. They touched in the trial oval. That's what, 100 yards, 200 yards. He felt that tire begin to go that quick. But that comes from experience. And you take it a guy like Jeff Burton, who has that much experience. He got it out of the pack before anything happened to it. Come in. Now he's. And we saw him leaving the pits right there. We also saw the 00 leaving the pits, okay, for like the 5th time of the day. But that's points racing again.
Matt, I got to believe Kurt Busch is going to be physically and mentally worn out. He has been driving the wheels off of catching that number 2.
Kurt Busch trying to make his way back to the front. 2nd time tonight he's been outside the top 20 and trying to drive back up to the front. The issue for Busch, we told you, he said that the car was beyond tight. They found out why when they took the tires off. Severe delamination on the right front. They adjusted for the tight condition to try to free him up. He also had to make a 2nd stop on pit road to repair damage to the nose. They'd punched a hole with that incident with the 6 in the nose. They patched it up, some bare bond, they pop riveted the piece in. Right now he's just riding, trying to latch onto the back of the 26, get some drafting help.
Kurt has earned his paycheck tonight.
Yeah, he's had his hands full.
Tough night again for Richard Childress Racing. I mean, again, the results don't really show how good they're racing. It's just they can't catch a lucky break.
But I'll tell you what, it's going to make RC happy. At least they are.
Latch onto the back of the 26, get some drafting help.
Kurt has earned his paycheck tonight.
Yeah, he's had his hands full.
Tough night again for Richard Childress Racing. I mean, again, The results don't really show how good they're racing. It's just they can't catch a lucky break.
But I'll tell you what, it's going to make RC happy. At least they are running good. I mean, that you can leave, and you may not have the results, but if you can leave a racetrack and you were competitive, at least you're going in the right direction.
Yeah. How many times did you go home and sleep a lot better because you run in the top 5, top 6, top 7, and have something happen? And you'd go home and finish 13th or 14th and be mad at yourself because you didn't run any better. And that's just the competitiveness of the team. They want to run good. The finishes will come, and that part will come as they go. You know, I just had somebody on Twitter ask why we hadn't done any driver interviews because so many people were in the wreck. The reason is all these guys are working on their cars. You look at the sheet here, there's guys that are 10, 20, 30 laps down. There's only 4 or 5 guys out of the race. There's nobody to talk to and nobody to interview because these guys are still sitting in their car in the garage area trying to get their stuff put together.
Oh, you're twittering, huh?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's kind of
weird. Most of the time you don't want to talk when you're sitting in the car anyway, and they're working on it.
Yeah, how many times did you sit in the car and just pull your visor down?
Yeah, keep the window net up.
Keep the window net
just
up.
Don't even look.
Down.
Well, you know, I've spent a lot of time down on pit road, and you just walk up, and you just kind of point at the microphone, and either the window net.
Have I ever cussed you in my career?
No, but it's early in the season. You never know. We got a couple of races yet to go.
I'm sorry.
Keep it up, Ralph. You'll be right back down there.
I'll never get the chance now, man, because I don't do that anymore.
The Bass Pro car. Bass Pro Shop paint job's back.
And I think Truex and those guys, they felt like that Montoya's car was a little bit better, a little bit faster. But you know, when they came down here in February, they had a great run down here in February. Those cars came out of Earnhardt Ganassi Racing, and they were strong when they first came out. And I know, you know, Truex thought last week that he had a good car. Got in that wreck, and we saw how upset he was last week, but he thought he did too. Right behind him is Scott Speed.
I was just going to say,
yeah, he's had a good run here, and this is his second race of the day, just like it is for Kyle Busch, because he and Kyle Busch kind of teamed up together.
Finished 10th in the Grand Am race earlier today in a Daytona prototype. Scott Speed and Kyle Busch.
Oh, to be young.
Yeah. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT.
Temperatures and
couple of weeks, he's having problems with his pitching elbow, and team doctors want him to sit a few games.
high pressure system continues to sit over the area, and that's going to mean more.
Once you've dealt with the things that come between you, don't let erectile dysfunction get in the way. Viagra, America's most prescribed ED treatment, can help you enjoy a more satisfying sexual experience. To learn more, spend some quality time with Viagra.com. Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Don't take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease in vision or hearing. Now's the time. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Oh, hang on, Casey Kane in the 9. And the 44, A.J. Allmendinger.
In the middle, 3 wide in the middle, clear high.
But you see how that killed their momentum when they all got together and those cars just pulled out and trained them, freight trained them on the inside there. You saw Logano.
That's all inside the top 15 to top 20. Coke Zero, the only drink with real Coke taste and 0 calories, is making it possible for John B. of Texas to take the ride of your life with Coca-Cola Racing Family Driver. Buckle up, because you're heading to Atlanta. An email with verification instructions and details on how to claim your prize has been sent to you from My Coke Rewards. Congratulations, John.
Is that Allmendinger there in the blue car?
Yeah, that 44, yep.
Man, he's got his hands full right now. Last 2 laps coming off of turn 2. He's had that car every which way but straight.
These guys all trying to catch Stewart, Busch, Hamlin up at the very front.
Yeah,
they've really separated themselves out.
Yeah, those guys are just pretty much, you know, nose to tail. They're not going to pull out and race each other right now, because trust me, they're looking in the mirror and they're seeing those guys high, low, in the middle, everywhere. and they're leaving them.
Stewart, Busch, Hamlin, and Jimmy Johnson.
And that's a huge gap. That's a huge gap between where these 4 are and where the next 2 or 3 are.
Hey guys, here's what's got me nervous, and I'm sure 30-something crew chiefs on pit road as well. Our longest green flag run tonight was between the 2nd and 3rd caution when we ran from lap 31 to lap 56, 25 laps. Well, if you go back to our last restart at lap 126, that means these guys are going to have to go 34 laps on these tires. I just don't know if that's possible. And if you look back at my race averages and trends, remember, we've had a caution in the last 8 races. We've had one 5 times in the last 10 laps. So I'm sure there's some nail biting on the part of these crew chiefs right now.
That's definitely something to think about, Larry. I mean, that, if he's right, could be a real problem for some of these guys.
Now watch, if you watch the lead group, see how they're all on the bottom and they're tight? Then you go back to the 5th place, 6th place, 7th place, 8th place. They're all over the racetrack. High, low, in the middle. So there's no way that group is going to catch the front group. If the front group of cars are all running each other's tire tracks and the next group is using all the racetrack, they will never chase the front group down. That front group will be faster by about a mile per hour over the second group. And their cars just aren't. See, you know, Montoya's just hanging on. The 99 can't run in the middle. He's running the bottom line, but they're not lined up, so they're losing speed. Now, and these 2 guys are even breaking away from the 7th and 8th place car.
They're all pretty much running where they have to run.
They're just hanging on.
Yeah.
Right, but they're not. It's impossible to chase the front group down.
There you can see him scatter.
Where the front 4, where one goes, they're all right exact in a line.
Still, what a night for Montoya. Even if he's just hanging on, he's hanging on in 5th. And the way that night was looking at the beginning, hard to believe he's up there. You know, this is the Coke Zero 400 powered by Coca-Cola. And, you know, I don't think I've ever seen Jeff Burton lose his cool. But these 2 guys from Coke may have finally made him crack with this crazy idea.
So last year, we were a little miffed that you guys were promoting Coke Zero instead of Coke.
Yeah, see, first Coke Zero stole our great Coke taste, then it stole our drivers.
But hey, we're past that, and we're moving forward.
We're glad you're promoting the incredible Coke taste of Coke Zero.
In fact, we'd like to help.
What is the one part of a car that no one has bothered to use for sponsorship yet?
Look at that. That screams Coke Zero.
You're out of your mind. It's, but you haven't even tried it yet.
Now, would that be safe? I don't know if it's 100% rating of safety, but you're doing 200 miles an hour, so you made some choices to begin with.
Coke Zero tastes like Coke, and now you claim you're both okay with it.
Oh, yeah. Very okay.
It's really dark in there. Well, are you a NASCAR driver or a NASCAR driver?
You can't see.
Oh, I'd like to be able to see.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, where's the track? Where am I going?
Yeah. What the?
Da, 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 da.
Kyle Busch running along in 2nd, and if you like interesting stats, a little different, Steve Addington, his crew chief, turns 45 today. Kyle won this race here last year, one day after Addington turned 44, and Kyle won at Richmond in May on his birthday. Kyle sitting in 2nd, Marty.
Sitting in 2nd, but like Larry Mack, a little worried about the tires and how much they're wearing. Here's what he had to say on the radio.
There's got to be another caution, man. They've been throwing it every 25 laps, even though stuff's happened. I don't see this thing going to the end. Grab a hold of your shifter. Tell me if it's shaking real bad. Mine's vibrating. I just want to see if it's all of us or me. It's all of us.
That other voice you heard was Denny Hamlin. They were communicating while riding out there on the racetrack. He was a little worried because the shifter got a little more violent. The longer this run has gone, Denny radioed to him, as you heard, mine's shaking too, buddy. We're all in it together.
Now, we in other broadcasting and watching stuff, you've heard drivers communicate with each other. These guys are communicating running 2nd and 3rd. And what they're doing is they're comparing what their cars are doing. You know, you heard him say, there's no way I see this thing going more than a few laps.
And
he was
there's
right.
the caution. There it is.
Thank you, Kyle Busch, for your commentary on that one. There's no way I see it going much farther than this because it's been happening.
7th caution
Something by the caution light down the back, I guess.
But these guys, these first 4 guys had driven away from the pack by a little over 3 seconds, and were continuing to build on that.
31 gets a free pass, and Tony Stewart's guys need to go 6 for 6. This is the one they got to hit.
Oh, yeah. Everybody, because, it's going to be a double file restart.
Well, but the thing
so you got to put you in a position.
Yeah, I mean, those other 5 go right out the window if you don't get this one right, though.
True. But I still think it's going to be down to him in the 11, my opinion.
11's strong, man.
Yeah,
I mean, he is strong. He when he dropped back and drove back to that point, and that car is just strong. It just as we talked in the beginning, there's cars that can lead and there's cars that can follow, and there's cars that can do both. And he's got a car that can do both, and he may be the only car out there that's been able to follow and kind of pull up on people plus lead and pull a pack at the same time.
And he's going to be, well, depends on how they come out on the pit stops, but he's good. I think if Hamlin's going to beat Stewart, he's got to make his move early after the restart, because once they get settled down, Tony's going to be very, very difficult to pass.
Well, Tony has now led over 620 laps here at Daytona. Makes him 8th all-time here, most of active drivers. Not a scratch on it so far. When you're up front all night like that, you can end up with a pretty clean race car.
That's why the car in Daytona USA that wins the race always looks pristine, except for a little bit of rubber and a little bit of champagne.
Yeah. And some confetti. All right, Larry, what do you think? What do you do here?
Well, guys, I'm the crew chief, and I want to give my drivers 4 tires, and I know my driver wants 4 tires, and I think we'll see all of the guys at the front go for 4 tires. We're going to have a restart with about 11 or 12 laps to go. But you know what? When I look back there at Greg Biffle, Casey Kane, maybe even Mark Truex Jr., you may see those crew chiefs roll the dice and put 2 right side tires only on.
Hey, Kyle. I've never had a crew chief like Larry. They always want to give me 2 tires.
2 tires, that's exactly right.
You can take 2 tires, can't you? Can't you?
Yeah. Okay, Lindsay, you get the first call.
Thanks, Ralph. Larry Mack talked about rolling the dice. Brian Patty is not willing to do that for Juan Pablo Montoya. In fact, he's very calculated. He said a top 12 finish in these last 9 will keep them in the chase. Right now, Juan will get 4 tires, a slight chassis adjustment, and fuel, Adam Alexander.
Jimmy Johnson has not been in the top 10 here since he won the Daytona 500 in 06. Good pit stop here. 4 tires, fuel, no changes. Marty?
Adam, the guys up front want 4 tires and no changes. Tony Stewart once again 7 for 7 tonight for that 14 team. They win the race off pit road. No changes for Stewart. Also no changes for Kyle Busch. 4 tires for all these cars up here on this end of pit road.
Now, who does Stewart want behind him? That's going to be the question.
Who would you take?
I think I'd want Hamlin behind me. Then I could block him easier.
I think with this many laps to go, I think I would want Hamlin to have a bad pit stop and be farther back in the
well,
pack.
that didn't happen.
That didn't happen, that's right.
But I think I'd rather have Hamlin in my lane than have him in the other lane.
Yeah, and that's the way it looks right now, so that's good.
And the teammates.
Yeah.
You don't want them together, so you got to mix it up.
Yeah, because we know they're already talking to each other, so that's going to be even better.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to go with that.
I bet Tony wish he had his old radio and his old helmet back so he could talk to him.
Oh, hang on, Lucy.
That's the same thing the 48 did earlier that Wally pointed out. He got on the brakes and slid in. You see how the car's nosed in a little bit.
Now, let's see if the 24 goes in a little bit sideways or if he's going to get in clean. Oh, well, he had to back up, so.
That's identical to the 48 car almost.
Boy, you put that in reverse and you can just kiss 3 positions goodbye easily. I mean,
exactly the same as it was.
That's how close these pit stops are right now.
1 to go right here, buddy. 1 to
There's your Toyota driver update.
Running pretty good.
Yeah. Busch and Hamlin in the top 5. Marcus Ambrose in the top 10.
Hey,
Scott
Marcos
Speed
is-
had a pretty decent night tonight.
Ambrose is doing a good job. I mean, you know, he's got that big yellow sticker on the back of it, and at a super speedway, that's just like being the devil.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to be around you. Nobody wants to help you. They just want you away from them.
No, you see people run up to the back bumper of a guy that's got that yellow stripe on and then back way, way up and say,
get by
I'm going
him.
to give that guy plenty of room. I don't know which way he's going to go.
Marty, that crew for Tony Stewart has done an outstanding job down there in pit road. And boy, were they jacked up after that last one.
They deserve a lunch, whether they win this race on Monday or not. They deserve a little free food from the owner. They've done a fantastic job. Here's the thing to think about. It does take about 8 laps for Stewart's car to come in. And the last words from Mike Ford to Denny Hamlin, starting right behind him, this is your race. Should be very interesting, boys.
There you see Darian Grubb up on the pit box on the end there. His boys have done a great job down there tonight.
All year.
Yeah. Lights are off.
Kyle's got to get a good start. I mean, he's got to have Jimmy Johnson on his bumper. I mean, if anybody's going to have a shot at beating Stewart, in my opinion, or Hamlin, this has got to be the best restart the outside lane has had all night.
Yeah, and now we're going to see if Jimmy and any of those guys have been holding back and have anything left for these first 3 guys.
And Stewart's been getting really good restarts.
Here we go. Coming back to the line. Green flag is out, and we're back at it at Daytona.
He got a good start right there, too.
Yeah. Jimmy Johnson, though, he's pushing that 18 car, and that will make a huge difference coming off of 2.
Now Tony's got a pusher. You saw him come right up to the back bumper there.
It looked like more like a shove as they came off at 2. Here they come down the backstretch. Johnson drops to the bottom 2.
Well, yeah, Jimmy's got to go.
You're clear 11th.
Well, 18 got down there, but I was going to say, the 2 strongest cars right now are right there.
14 and 11.
So now Hamlin's going to have to figure out, well, what am I going to do to get by him?
Look at those things bounce, man. I mean, they bounce left, they bounce right. I mean, and that's violent. We've seen in-car camera shots how violent the driver's head kind of ricochets around inside the seat.
And these 4 already starting to separate themselves a little bit from that pack. Kenseth doing everything he can to hang on and trying to see if Elliott Sadler in that 19 can help push him up there.
Man, you see those guys in the back trying to push each other up there. And you saw Logano get into the back of the 9 car there and push him, and he just kind of weaves down the backstretch.
Oh, man. Now watch when they get straight. Now you guys getting a run will start shoving each other. See the 20 should lay it to the 9, although the 9 doesn't have much of a bumper left.
Yeah, and that's the problem with trying to bump draft with somebody who's already been in an accident. You don't know where that bumper bar is there or whether it's not there.
9 laps remaining.
You see the first 5 or 6 cars have lined up. As long as these first 5 or 6 cars are lined up, you see Montoya jump out of the line back there in the back, and then.
But this is where the wrecks start happening, because now these guys are mirror driving more than they're looking out the windshield.
Yeah.
They're trying to block each other. Whoa!
Oh man!
And all you're trying to keep that guy behind you. You don't.
Oh,
here we
there
go.
it is. Scott Speed, AJ Allmendinger.
Still outside. Stay in the gas.
Scott Speed in the Red Bull number 82.
And you just get to this point of the race and you can just expect it, because everybody is trying to protect their position. And if you look in the mirror, you see a guy has a run on you, you're going to turn in front of him and try to block it.
8th caution of the night. He was running in 15th.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, they come up on him. He comes up the racetrack and runs right across the hood of Allmendinger's car. And that's it's just like Wally says. Early in the race, there's give and take. There's give and take. We're sitting here looking at 9 laps to go when they were coming by, 8 laps to go. There is no give. There's all take right here.
So the 44 had to check up a little bit. The 82 had a run. And he figured, you know what, I got enough run. I think I can clear him.
And the 26, but look at him sawing the wheel in there too, just being the victim, being trapped in the middle groove.
And go ahead. The 26 was coming too.
Yeah, 26 is coming and has no idea that the 82 is there. Has no idea that the closure rate is that fast. And when it closes, it's over with.
This is a great shot, I think. Watch how he misses a 44.
Stay low, stay low, stay low. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. No caution yet. Keep digging. Keep your foot in it.
He's been very lucky at avoiding a lot of incidents tonight, Joey Logano.
Yeah.
He's gotten through some big ones. Scott Speed, on the other hand, headed to the garage area, heavily torn up. 39 is going to get the free pass. He was nailed earlier tonight for going too fast on the exit of pit road. 7 to go right now. Light still on the pace car.
Okay, now.
What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, Hamlin's going to be in another. I mean, now you got Hamlin beside you.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
it's going to get rough.
It's going to get, yeah, it just keeps getting. It's funny because you just keep lining them up in different scenarios, and every scenario is a new one. So
yeah,
it's
different
kind of
combination.
funny.
Yeah,
it's a different combination. It's like, okay, what works this time? You know what I mean?
But Jimmie Johnson. That 48, he's not afraid to lay the bumper to you on a restart. And that's what you need to do. If I was Denny Hamlin, I'd be saying right now, tell the 48 spotter to run me over on this restart.
Yeah, help me. You know what I mean? Help me, help you.
Yeah.
Okay? Help me, help you.
Wear my rear bumper out.
Well, during this caution, our 8th of the day, let's go through the field. We'll begin with Marty.
You know, I talked to Darian Grubb earlier this morning. He said the one thing I don't want, a short run to decide this race, and that's exactly what he's got. Tony has been able to keep his horse out front, trying to get a second points win as an owner and a driver. I'm sure there's no nerves behind that wheel right now. Denny Hamlin told us in Countdown to Green today, he said, you know what, I won too early in my career. This is where it all started, a Budweiser shootout win. Denny would love to be able to get the car back to victory lane. The 11 car been missing from victory lane for quite a while now. Kyle Busch, his teammate right behind him, said, I'm gonna have the 48 car behind me on this restart. That should be very interesting. If those two can hook up, maybe they can get back to the front. Kyle still thinks he has a shot to win this thing from third. Adam?
And I believe Jimmie Johnson feels like his chances of winning still good as well. And while driver 48 wants to get there, his crew chief would love to go to victory lane at Daytona himself. He did not get to make the trip when Jimmy won the 06 500. He had been suspended. Darian Grubb was filling in as crew chief. Matt?
Our reigning Daytona 500 champion, Matt Kenseth. He currently sits in the 5th position, 3 out of the last 6 races here at Daytona. He is left with a top 5 finish. The issue for Kenseth, the car seems to lag a little bit going from 3rd to 4th. He let one of his teammates know about that for the restart. Lindsay?
Matt, Elliott Sadler said not a day goes by that he doesn't think about that missed opportunity in the Daytona 500. He is driving right now the same car that he ended up driving to a 5th place finish back there in February. He says the car's a little bit tight. However, right now, pretty happy with their position. Matt?
Second highest running Roush car is the 99 of Carl Edwards. A year ago, top 5 finish here at Daytona, almost left with a win, finishing 2nd. He had conversations back and forth with Matt Kenseth. When they restart, they should be nose to tail, and they're going to try to team up. The 99 will try to help push the 17 to the front, Marty.
Matt, what a day this has been for Marcos Ambrose in the 8th position right now. I asked him earlier this week, how's your confidence at plate races? He said, I have none. He said, it's really just a feel thing for me. And I asked him, how did you finish so well at Talladega, where he finished 4th? He said, honestly, I don't know if I could duplicate that again. He said, I just kind of got in the right line. Well, he's made a lot of right decisions tonight, currently sitting in 8th after having a loose race car for most of this night, Matt.
Busch saying, Marty, that the car just not the same since the damage earlier. He currently sits in the 9th position. He had his spotter walk on down the spotter stand and talk to the 78 spotter, Regan Smith, to try to team up for this final stretch run, but he says when he gets the car back at him, they want to put in the chassis down and just see what might be wrong with the 2 car.
Matt, you mentioned Regan Smith. Larry McReynolds gave him an attaboy earlier in the race, and why not? He started 43rd, dead last tonight. He's worked his way into the top 10 with 5 laps to go, and that's saying something because when this night began, they were part in qualifying trim, part in race trim, because this is an impound race, Larry, and they didn't know we weren't going to qualify. They have battled through the changes and in position for their best run of the year.
We know, Adam, on our TNT broadcast, we try to make sure we touch on every driver at least once. And one we've not mentioned is Greg Biffle in this 16 car. Of course, Greg was one of those cars late in final practice Thursday evening, involved in the crash with Sam Hornish Jr. They had to unload this backup car. It's a brand new race car. It had never seen the racetrack. So when qualifying was scratched, the first lap in this car was when he dropped the green flag tonight. I'm sure Greg Irwin and Greg Biffle would love to get a top 15 finish, and they're close, running in 16th.
Yeah, those guys have worked on that race car. I've noticed when they've come into the pits, Larry, you know, they've really taken their time and worked on that race car, especially after the first pit stop. They've done a really nice job tonight.
Lights are off on the pace car. Joe Gibbs Racing has won 3 of the last 4 July Daytona races. They got Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin looking to get him another one. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson also in the mix up at the front. Stewart back on the inside one more time, getting ready for the restart.
You're going to see some hammering on bumpers here in a minute. Well, already you're seeing it. Look at them. They're already pushing each other.
Here we go. The green flag is in the air. 4 laps remaining.
I like these double file restarts, man. Especially like this. 4 or 5 laps to go.
And there's 4 strong. Oh, wow. Jimmy Johnson, dump 11. I did not expect
he just left him. Well, Hamlin's going to slide down in there.
But it's almost like with these cars, once you pull down behind the car, you don't go anywhere, but the car in front of you, he doesn't go anywhere either. Both cars just fell in line.
Boy, it's ugly right there. You see a lot, like I said, a lot of bumper tag right now. Yeah, you got to give it everything you got. You got 4 laps to go. It's everything. Either get a good finish or bring back the steering wheel.
And how many times have we seen nothing come back but the steering wheel here?
Yeah,
especially here at this place.
Now Kyle pulls out and Hamlin goes with him, but they gotta time it right.
Yeah.
But if the 18 pulls out and the 11 goes, there's a shot at getting by Tony. Tony's car is awfully strong, but he's gonna need everybody to line up against him.
And you're going to need to pick your time to do that as well.
I'd be doing it right now. I wouldn't be waiting for that last lap stuff doesn't work anymore.
That last lap stuff is great for Talladega Nights. Okay, it's not great for right here. Let me say that. You want to get in front and block. Is what you want to do, and especially when you've got a teammate, you want to get in front and put it down to the 11 and the 18 and let those guys race. And I'm telling you what, there's not many people, I'll say that, as good or better than Tony Stewart in the last 5 or 6 laps of a race.
And the thing is, you got to do it now, Kyle, because there may be a wreck.
There may be a wreck.
And it may take you 2 or 3 laps to work on that leader. These guys need to be doing it now.
That wreck was almost Montoya. He was completely sideways coming off the corner. He saved it again. Busy night for Juan Pablo Montoya as he still runs up inside the top 10 after all he's been through tonight in that 42. 2 to go.
The guys running 6th and 7th have torn up race cars. You know what I mean? I mean, they've been in accidents, but they have driven the wheels off of them, Kurt Busch and Juan Montoya, to keep these cars in contention.
The only ones not with any damage are the ones at the very front of this pack. But we're not done as we're coming around, getting ready for the white flag.
31 of Burt Car.
Here they come. To the outside. Here comes Kyle Busch. He's got him, and Tony cuts off Hamlin.
Now what's Tony going to do?
You're clear.
And now the question is, Tony's got no help because these guys are running too wide behind him.
Right.
So now it's man on man right now.
I don't think it's gonna get wider here in a minute, I believe.
Here comes Johnson in behind Stewart. Is it enough? Hamlin's high side up there by himself in the 11. First lap led all night by Kyle Busch, and it's the money lap, and it might be all it takes.
It really
now, what does Johnson do to help Stewart?
Doesn't matter. Kyle Busch is going to hog all the racetrack, or he should. He's mirror driving right now.
Tony Stewart trying to get to the bottom.
He may get turned for mirror driving, but he's going to be mirror driving.
Stewart's trying to squeeze in there. See that hand? Shoving to the bottom.
See that hand? He just wanted to touch him, man. Just wanted to touch him.
Can't get him to the high side. Here he comes. No, there he goes. Kyle Busch in the wall. Here comes Stewart to the checkered flag. And another car gets in the backside. It's Casey Kane. And they're scattering everywhere as they come to the line.
Some of these guys hit hard, man.
And one of them was Kyle Busch.
They're still hitting hard. Man, that's an ugly finish. But incredible. Incredible.
But that was 100% mirror driving, and that's what you have. That's what Kyle Busch had to do.
That's what Kyle Busch had to mirror drive. Tony Stewart had to put the car there and stick the car where. We saw this same thing in Talladega when with the 09 car with Keselowski. He stuck his car in there, he drove it, he put it where it needed to be, and that's the way it was.
Look at the damage to his race car as Kyle Busch crawls out and walks back down the racetrack.
But, I know people are going to start, well, this guy did this and that guy blamed this guy. Let me tell you, Kyle Busch did what he needed to do. Tony Stewart needed to do what. This is how you go after winning a race at Daytona. You leave everything on the table. This is Daytona.
The fireworks are going off in the sky, but the fireworks on the racetrack even bigger. Watch this.
Okay, this is the pass that 18 makes on the 14th. Good clean pass. He had a little bit of help.
Wow, he got a great run right there. I don't know where that run come from. It's almost like Tony's car got out from under him or something, because it's almost like Tony checked off. That's incredible.
Okay, now at this point,
yeah,
Kyle Busch is just looking in the mirror, and he's got to take all the racetrack. He's got to hog it. One lap to go, and we've seen this a lot. See Hamlin out there kind of on the high side. And then you watch the 18's hands in 3 and 4. The 14 is all over the bumper of the 18.
And all he really wanted to do, it looked like when he got in between 3 and 4 here, if he could have just put his bumper to him just a little bit and got him loose and slid him up the racetrack. You see him right here. He drives right to that corner right here. When he makes that turn, boom, I want to be right on that 18's corner and force him up the racetrack right there.
Okay, now Kyle's hanging on, but he's going to block. Comes back. And it just ran himself over the 14 car.
And here's what happened. Just like we talked about at Talladega and everybody talked about, block me once, that's okay. Block me twice, you're going up in the grandstands or you're going in the wall. And that's what happened. The 18 made 2 swipes at him. One to the inside, one to the outside.
Yeah, this one's fair right here. This one's not fair. You kind of had it coming.
Yeah, he had that one coming. When you cut back across the hood of somebody after you've blocked him once, and Tony, once he blocked, Tony put the bumper on the outside of him. He was there.
Watch the 9. I think it's a 9 car
gets right in the back.
Just clobbers Kyle Busch.
And these guys, there's a 31 car touring, but these guys hit hard right here.
Logano finally, his luck ran out. He just
but you see these guys coming across the racetrack. This is ugly down here. They're very fortunate nobody got hurt right there.
Trying to bump you. Stay on this yellow line. Chase them, coming up high. There you go.
Pick the rear tires off the ground. Now watch this next hit.
Oh man!
Wow. That's a 180-mile-per-hour shot right there.
Man, that was brutal.
Listen to it.
I think they lost the camera on that one.
Yeah, that's incredible.
For Tony Stewart, his 36th win in his 374th start. Oh man, there goes our camera.
And we lost another camera right there.
Daytona fans got their money's worth.
That was Stewart's
incredible straightaway.
They did an outstanding job tonight as Tony takes his 3rd July Daytona win, all in the last 5 races. You're watching Wide Open coverage of the Coke 0400 TNT.
The Coke 0400 on TNT is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero. Real Coke taste and 0 calories.
Welcome back to our post-race show here at Daytona. The fireworks still exploding in the sky. And Marty, we talked about the look of the driver when you get out of victory lane at Daytona.
The 3rd time for Tony Stewart in a points-paying race here at Daytona, but none more dramatic than that. Wow. Tony, tell me about that last lap. You sat in the car for a while just kind of thinking about things.
Well, I don't know that I was real proud of that, but I don't know what else I could have done there. I mean, I went where I had to go, and he went where he had to go. It just, you hate seeing a guy that's been up front all day, and especially a guy that helped me the whole race, get wrecked like that. I don't like winning them like that.
Well, is it more of a product of everybody just doing what they needed to do?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, but you still don't like it. I mean, you kind of forced in that position. But, I made my move to the outside, and I got up to his right rear tire, and then when he went to block us, we were already there. So, but it still doesn't mean you like it. You like to win them that way. That's not the way you want to win these things. We had a good car all day. You feel bad because you want him to have a good day too. But we weren't going to give it to him. But if I did something wrong, I'm sorry. I don't think I did, but I mean, I was out there when he moved, so I don't know. You just feel bad about it. It's not the way you want to win these things.
For you and your team, we talked about the emotion of the win at Pocono. Your guys on pit road today, 7 for 7. You never lost a race on pit road.
No, these guys in this Burger King, Old Spice Office Depot, U.S. Army team, Chevrolet team did an awesome job, and proud of Coke Zero, and thanks for everything they do for our sport. But these guys did an awesome job, man. They had awesome stops all night long, just consistent, and thank Hendrick Engines and Chassis and our body shop at Stewart Haas. These guys really worked extra hard on this car, and proud of Mac Tools and just everybody that's a part of this program that believed in us. And Coca-Cola was one of the first to come on board, Coke and Chevy, so just appreciate everything they do for us.
We'll let you go celebrate with your team, Tony.
Thanks.
Congratulations, Tony Stewart and the Stewart Haas team in victory lane here at Daytona.
Marty, Jimmie Johnson had a front row seat for that wild finish. Take us through your eyes what you saw there coming to the finish line.
I thought we had one more lap, so I was hopeful that caution came out before we crossed the start-finish line, and evidently that wasn't the case. But I had a couple runs a lap or two before that, and I knew to sit in my position there, not give up the bottom. I felt like something would happen up front and I could improve my position, and sure enough it did. It looked like Tony was trying to make a move, Kyle was trying to keep him behind him, and they hooked by a couple inches and it turned the 18 in the outside wall. But I think the top 4 cars really were there all day long, the 18, the 11, the 14, and us, and it was just a matter who came out where on pit road and what track position they had, and I screwed up on pit road and slid through our stall and hurt us a little bit, but we recovered from it. A great race car. Want to thank all the armed service men and women across the country, across the world, working for us, keeping our country free, and happy birthday, America. Thank you.
Jimmie Johnson, a top 5 finish at Daytona for the first time since winning the 500-06. Lindsay?
Adam, Carl Edwards gets a 5th place finish. He says he gives his team an A today, but take me through that final lap and what that was like for you.
At first, I got to thank Aflac, Subway, Ford. All right, so this last lap. I really wanted to be up there racing with those guys. And then we come to the travel, and I saw what happened there. I thought, I'm glad I'm not racing with those guys, because that was insane. I saw the right side of Kyle's car. He went straight in the fence, and it looked to me like the wheels came off the ground a bit. So real scared for him there for a second. So I just turned left, went to the grass, and I guess Tony won the race. But just a wild finish, and just got to say hey to all the troops out there and everyone supporting us and sacrificing for us, and hope everybody has a happy Independence Day.
Carl Edwards takes home a 5th place finish tonight. Adam.
And Denny Hamlin in the top 5. Your teammate got bounced around at the end. What did you see, Denny?
I mean, 2 guys battling, seeing the checker flag right there in front of them. That's what happens. And on a restricted place, when everyone has new tires, the cars are very equal, and that's what you see is tight finishes like that. But our whole FedEx office team gave something for our employees to be excited about. We were up front all day, just got in trouble right there. I had to make a choice. I felt like coming off turn 4, coming to the white, when I pushed the 18 beside the 14, I had to stick with the 18. It's my duties as a teammate to push him to the lead, and I felt like if I did that, it was going to be a good shot. He was going to win it, but I could have maybe stick with the 14, and then maybe gave Rush a shot, but then I was going to have the 48 behind me. It wasn't going to work either way for us. I just think circumstances didn't work out for him to win.
Nice run for Denny Hamlin, Lindsay.
Kurt Busch, a top 5 finish, but you battled your race car all day long.
Yeah, it was a good car, and we felt steady early on, just waiting for our time, and we got a lap led early, but man, those guys were tough, so we couldn't lead them all. Just wanted to hang in that group. We just had a right front start shredding on us, tried to back it off, got 4 or 5 wide on the back straightaway, and a guy got spun and got some damage. but that was early enough in the race for us to bounce back, and the crew was poised with the fix, and we just kept digging. I was going to go back to about 15th on that last lap with guys going everywhere. I never lifted, didn't check up, found some holes coming to the line, and I didn't know it was my little brother when he hit, and when I found out I was pretty tore up, but I'm glad he's okay.
The two teams showed a lot of resiliency today, Ralph.
Boy, he sure did a great job behind the wheel tonight, Lindsay. But I'll tell you what, this is why everybody looks forward to the 4th of July race here at Daytona. Watch this finish.
And, you know, I don't think Stewart, I think once he sees all this, he shouldn't be beating himself up too much on this deal. I mean, like I said, you're looking at the checkered flag at Daytona. All bets are off.
Yeah.
That's a hard hit by the 18 car because he hits with the left front and then drives the driver's side into the wall.
When he gets drilled by Kane right here.
And you know, we got the safer barrier, but I'm telling you that Hans device, those things.
Look at that.
Yeah,
Look
that's
at
a
that.
shot. So he got hit. He took a shot in the front, and then he took a shot from the back. I mean, and then he got one in the door.
Oh,
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, that's what I said. Is they were going on down. That's why I kept trying to follow the cars down. I'm like, they hit really hard past the start-finish line. Not only these cars, the 31 car. There were 2 or 3 cars that took some major licks going into turn 1 down there.
And the bad thing about this is he already has damage on the left side. That's what I hate, is seeing a car get hit twice in the same spot.
Ooh, the 9 car gets hit right dead in the door by the 31 car. You see him. Then the 20 car hits his 18 car right in the door.
I bet you that's the hardest shot he took.
Watch it from Joey Logano's view
cars?
out the back.
Low, low, low. Go low, 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 low.
That's an ugly sound.
Kevin Harvick's view.
Look at the one. He just ducked to the pits.
Yeah. The only car without a scratch on it.
Back her down. Back her down. Just back it down.
After all of this, Kyle Busch has declined to comment on the finish of this one.
Watch this shot. Just look at where the drivers.
Oh, man.
That's incredible.
And then, just when you think, okay, all done, and then here comes Logano with, nowhere to go.
And Logano can't see. You see how bad this is. So it's not anybody's fault. It's like we talked about the accident. And you said something about Kyle Busch declines the comment. And that's probably good, because you can tell he's upset. You see the officials, they want to take him to the hospital, they want to take him to the Infield Care Center. I would be upset too. You had a shot at winning this race. This happened. They're forcing him to go. They should force him to go.
Yeah.
You need to go to the Infield Care Center. That's how simple it is. But at the same time, this is probably the best thing for Kyle Busch at this time. Don't say anything, because whatever you say, there's fans out there that love you, there's fans out there that hate you, and the ones that hate you are going to use it against you. So just keep your mouth shut.
It's time to announce our final grand prize winner in the Real Taste of NASCAR sweepstakes. Pack your bags, Eric Gove, North Dakota, because Coke Zero is making it possible for you to take a few heart-pounding laps with one of your favorite Coca-Cola Racing family drivers at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Details on how to claim your prize and verification instructions have been sent to your email. Thanks to everyone that entered the Real Taste of NASCAR sweepstakes. TNT would like to thank the following sponsors for supporting TNT's wide open coverage: Goodyear, Coors Light, Sprint, the Weinstein Company and their new film Inglourious Bastards, Burger King, the U.S. Army, Toyota, Subway Restaurants, and Coca-Cola Zero. Fireworks still going off in the sky, but none of those are going to match the action that we saw in that final lap here tonight.
Same colors were involved.
Yeah. NASCAR still taking a look at the replays to get the finishing order exactly the way it should be.
This next guy, he didn't just luck into it. Marcus Ambrose, he ran a good race all day. He finished 6th spot.
He sure did. How about Brian Vickers in 7th, Montoya in 8th after the up and down ride he had? Oh, now it shows, let's slide back Montoya 1.
I don't think we ever mentioned Vickers except when somebody was running into him.
Yeah.
So that, to come back from that is a great night for Brian Vickers.
What a show once again here on 4th of July weekend here at Daytona. Next Saturday, NASCAR on TNT heads to the Windy City. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Eastern with NASCAR on TNT Live.